Chapter 14. On the way back to town, Yi Qinghan was silent. Yi Kuang thought for a moment and said, "Qinghan, no matter how much you hate the Yi clan, I still want you to be safe. Just stay in the Spirit Treasures Pavilion for a while. I heard that this power is spread all over the Azure Sun Kingdom. Even the Marquis of Jiangning County may not dare to risk offending the Spirit Treasures Pavilion to kill you. I will protect myself. Uncle, you should go back first. Announce to the outside world that you have completely broken off relations with me and will never allow me to enter the Yi clan. Otherwise, I am worried that Situ Yunxiao will harm you." Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Yi Kuang was so moved that he could not speak. He secretly wiped his tears and turned to leave. Yi Qinghan secretly shook his head and sighed. He silently walked back to the Spirit Treasures Pavilion and quickly adjusted his mood. After returning to the Spirit Treasures Pavilion, Old Man Sun sat in front of a table with 6,000 taels of silver on it. He had a rabbit leg in his mouth and was drooling as he looked at the large wine jar. The spirit-devouring divine parrot sat directly on it and did not allow him to approach. Calculating the time, it had already been 6 hours. He took out the wine jar and prepared to take out the purple light wine. However, he saw the parrot's flattering face. "Master, you are willing to give this rotten old man a tenth of the purple light wine. Why don't you give your cute and valiant spirit pet a tenth of the spirit-devouring divine parrot?" The parrot deliberately spread its injured right wing and pretended to be pitiful. Before Yi Qinghan could speak, Old Man Sun flew into a rage and roared, "Who are you calling a rotten old man? You rotten bird! This divine bird is an ancient divine bird, the spirit-devouring divine parrot. Don't speak nonsense if you don't understand. You are already 80 years old. Aren't you a rotten old man? Drinking such good wine is purely a waste." The parrot did not back down. At this moment it was related to the distribution of the purple light wine. "You rotten bird, you can kill a cow with just a few words. Ancient divine bird. You are just a rotten bird. Once I break through the body refinement realm and enter the blood ignition realm, I can instantly break through the shackles of life and live to 150 years old. I am in the prime of my life. What do you know?" Old Man Sun disdainfully mocked. "Prime my ass. When this divine bird's wings recover, I can send you into the 100,000 great mountains with a single slap and make you die without a complete corpse. Are you afraid now? Obediently admit your mistake to this divine bird. When I spread my wings and soar high, I might reward you with a divine bird wing, and let you bring honor to your family," the parrot scolded shamelessly. "What the fuck, a broken bird like you who can't even fly? I can summon you into the 100,000 mountains right now. Show me if you dare to be arrogant again." Old Man Sun was furious. He immediately took out the grill and glared at the spirit-devouring divine parrot. The parrot, who bullied the weak and feared the strong, immediately withered when it saw the grill. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but sneer. Was this parrot really an ancient divine beast, the divine spirit-devouring parrot? How could he be so useless? Humph, this divine bird is not feeling well today. I won't argue with this old man. The parrot did not dare to offend Old Man Sun. It could only look at Yi Qinghan pitifully. "Okay, 10%. I hope you don't disappoint me." Yi Qinghan took out the wine jug. Even though the wine jug was sealed with gold, it was difficult to conceal its fragrance. When the parrot heard this, it immediately smiled. Its human-like appearance was very funny. Little Meng Shi laughed loudly and reached out to grab the parrot. "Little brat, go away. I am a great divine bird." The parrot hurriedly ran away. "I am not a little brat, I am the little sister of the great divine bird master. Divine bird, come to my hand." Yi Mengshi's face was chubby and she reached out her small hand, looking very cute. "Aya, so it is the little master. You are so naive and cute. You have a pure heart and a pure heart. Being able to cultivate to the second level of body refinement at the age of 5 or 6, you are the most powerful divine girl I have ever seen. Once the parrot heard Yi Mengshi's identity, it chattered endlessly like a bootlicker. Yi Qinghan completely lost hope in this so-called divine bird. It was too shameless. This kind of bird only embarrassed him and did not have any real benefits. Where did you get this top-quality bird? Old man Sun looked at Yi Qinghan speechlessly and asked. Don't bother with it, it is just a cheap bone. Yi Qinghan bitterly smiled and tore open a bit of the tin foil. The entire room was filled with a fragrant aroma and overflowing spiritual energy. Old man Sun and the parrot immediately widened their eyes and looked at the jug of wine in Yi Qinghan's hand, salivating. Yi Qinghan placed the 3 bowls in front of him and poured half of the wine into one bowl. The mouth of the bowl was surrounded by a purple mist and the wine was emitting a purple-red light. It was like a divine treasure had appeared and a rich spiritual energy filled the room. I will protect you. You too drink it and circulate your true qi to your limbs and bones. It will heal your internal injuries and help you break through to the next level. It will definitely be very effective. Yi Qinghan quickly sealed the jug of wine and said in a serious tone. I also have a share. Yi Mengshi licked her small tongue and asked excitedly. Yes, drink it and circulate the qi cultivation ultimate heaven yuan skill that I taught you. Open up your qi si and gather your true qi. Yi Qinghan said lightly. Old man Sun rushed to the table and took a big gulp of the wine. He felt the accumulated qi and blood in his body explode instantly, as if a second spring had arrived. Ah! This feels good. Old man Sun looked up to the sky and howled. His qi and blood burned and his white hair turned black. His dry skin suddenly became glossy and the surging true qi in his body circulated on its own. It spun continuously and opened up his qi si. It automatically turned into a liquid state and formed true qi. The parrot smelled the fragrance and spiritual energy that assailed its nostrils. Unexpectedly, for the first time, it flapped its injured wings and rushed to the table. It inserted its beak into the bowl and took a deep breath. The large bowl of purple light wine was quickly emptied. A purple light quickly appeared on its wound. The dead meat was filled with spirituality and made the parrot dance excitedly. Ha ha ha, this divine bird will finally spread its wings and fly. Clang, with a crisp sound, little Meng Shi fell to the ground drunk and allowed the spiritual energy to circulate in her body. Her face was as red as an apple and she fell into a deep sleep. She even smacked her lips and missed the taste of the purple light wine very much. Ugh! Yi Qinghan slapped his head and was speechless. This purple light wine usually did not cause people to get drunk. Although the alcohol concentration was high, the spiritual energy was strong and basically neutralized it. However, Yi Mengshi was so young and a little bit of alcohol was enough to make her drunk. The ground was cold. Yi Qinghan carried Yi Mengshi to the backyard and found that the true qi in her body was circulating according to the ultimate heaven yuan skill. It was exactly the same as what he taught her. He was surprised. How can this be? Why does her qi si feel like it has a soul? Yi Qinghan frowned. He had lived for hundreds of years and had never encountered such a situation. There were no records of such a legend in history. But at least this was a good thing. Yi Mengshi was able to cultivate in her sleep, which meant that she was a natural qi cultivation genius. Yi Qinghan placed Yi Mengshi on the bed and left the backyard. When he returned to the front yard, he found that old man Sun's temperament had changed. He seemed to have become more than 30 years younger. His originally white hair had turned black and gray. Whoosh! The white parrot turned into a sharp sword and its speed was comparable to the blood ignition realm. Its sharp lips were enough to split open a mountain. What a fast speed! Yi Qinghan was surprised. He thought that the devouring spirit parrot could only search for spiritual energy and some treasures. He did not expect it to be so fast. Master, am I not stupid? This divine bird's speed is unparalleled in history. Humans of the same level are definitely not my match. A great sage once said that in the world of martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. This divine bird is that kind of bird. The parrot was arrogant and domineering. It flew to Yi Qinghan's shoulder and held its head high, as if it was number one in the world. Yi Qinghan sneered. If it met an expert, it would be the first to admit defeat. This kind of thing that bullied the weak and feared the strong could only be arrogant with its mouth. I don't know if you are stupid or not, but I do know that when Mr. Sun breaks through to the blood ignition realm, will you be able to slap him into the 10,000 mountains? Yi Qinghan joked. This devouring spirit parrot was only equivalent to a human at the 5th or 6th level of Qi cultivation realm. Even if it was invincible in the same level, it could not go against someone at the blood ignition realm. The parrot looked at Old Man Sun, whose aura was getting stronger and stronger. It could not help but tremble and lay on his shoulder obediently. The entire 10,000 mountain town fell into silence. The pressure enveloped the town center. The experts of the Yi, Wang, and Su families all rushed out and looked at the Spirit Treasures Pavilion. Mr. Sun broke through. Heavens, he is already at the end of his life, but he actually broke through the 9th level of body refinement and reached the blood ignition realm. Yi Kuang was shocked. The difference between the blood ignition realm and the body refinement realm was like heaven and earth. True Qi and true essence had a fundamental difference. A blood ignition realm expert could destroy the entire 10,000 mountain town. Even if a few peak 9th level body refinement experts came to help, they would not be able to defend against the attack of a blood ignition realm expert. Su Haran woke up from his seclusion and looked at the town center. He clenched his fists and muttered, I didn't think that someone would break through to the blood ignition realm just as I broke through to the 9th level of body refinement. Is it someone from the Wang or Yi family? Su Haran obviously did not expect that the expert who broke through to the blood ignition realm was Mr. Sun, who was past his prime. In order not to offend the expert who just broke through, he hurriedly ran out of the house and towards the town center. Now that Mr. Sun was gone, Su Haran became the number one person in 10,000 mountain town. No one from the Yi and Wang families could stop him. Yi Kuang could not, and neither could the Wang family's patriarch, Wang Sun. The three experts gathered and were dumbfounded. Yi Kuang immediately noticed that Su Haran had broken through and was even more shocked. The benefits of 10,000 mountain town were about to change. Old Man Sun's face was filled with joy. He had been reborn because of a moment of kindness. He had helped Yi Qinghan. Good karma begets good karma. He had provided Yi Qinghan with an unused backyard in exchange for 70 years of life. Ha ha ha. This old man feels better than ever. Old Man Sun looked at Yi Qinghan with eyes full of gratitude. Congratulations to Mr. Sun for being reborn and entering the blood ignition realm. Yi Kuang took a step forward and said respectfully. This is all thanks to. Mr. Sun originally wanted to thank Yi Qinghan, but when he thought of the hatred that Yi Qinghan carried, he did not want to attract too much attention. He changed his words and said, this is all thanks to my good deeds every day. The heavens let me live for a few more days. Shameless. When have I ever seen you do good deeds? The parrot curled its lips and said disdainfully in a low voice. Cough cough. Mr. Sun's ears were very sharp. Although the parrot's voice was soft and others could not hear it, as someone in the blood ignition realm, he could still hear it. His old face could not help but turn red as he glared at the parrot. Chapter 15. Congratulations, Mr. Sun. You've broken through to the blood ignition realm and the entire Wanshan town is convinced. We won't have to live in fear of the beast tide anymore, Wang Sun said respectfully. Su Haran's expression was a little unnatural. He had thought that he would become the #1 person in Wanshan town after breaking through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm and being in his prime. He didn't expect that he would be #2 forever. However, he didn't dare to offend Mr. Sun and quickly went forward to congratulate him. Mr. Sun, you've broken through to the blood ignition realm and this is a big matter for Wanshan town. My Su family will pay to hold a banquet and invite everyone to celebrate. Please allow it. Su Haran was able to let go and flatter Mr. Sun. I'm not free. I've just broken through to the blood ignition realm and need to consolidate my cultivation. If you want to invite me, then invite me. Let the townspeople have a good time too. Old man Sun didn't buy it and directly sent the guest away. He closed the door and prepared to thank Yi Qinghan properly. The people outside looked at each other. They didn't expect to be directly rejected. In the main hall, old man Sun's face was filled with excitement. He looked at Yi Qinghan again and worshipped him like a god. Qinghan, what kind of spirit wine is this? Why is it more effective than the blood ignition pill? I've taken 2 blood ignition pills and still can't reverse the decline of my qi and blood. This bowl of spirit wine allowed me to break through quickly. If it's sold, people will buy it for 30,000 taels. Old man Sun said excitedly. Nonsense. Don't you know who the owner is? The Son of Heaven is extraordinarily intelligent and possesses great fortune. Otherwise, how could he have a divine bird like me as a spirit pet? The parrot mocked disdainfully. Get lost. If you provoke me again, I'll throw you back to the 100,000 mountains. Old man Sun was flustered and exasperated. He was very dissatisfied with this high-quality parrot. All right, stop arguing. Yi Qinghan's aura sank. The parrot and old man Sun both chose to remain silent. I need to earn money quickly. Mr. Sun, what do you think of the value of this purple light wine? Yi Qinghan stared at old man Sun and asked. A bowl is worth 10,000 taels. A jar of purple light wine is definitely not a problem. Not only is this the best wine in the world, but it is also a precious medicine 100 times more powerful than the blood ignition pill. Old man Sun was somewhat excited and replied confidently. I need quick money. Because my enemy won't give me much time. Yi Qinghan slowly sat down and whispered. With my spirit treasures pavilion around, who would dare to do anything to you? Old man Sun said proudly. I don't like having my life in the hands of others. I only believe in myself. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. After being betrayed in his previous life, he did not trust outsiders at all, let alone an organization that only operated for profit. Don't tell me you can't even trust me. Old man Sun questioned with some dissatisfaction. You're too weak. Do you think you're #1 in the world just because you're at the blood ignition realm? Yi Qinghan was filled with disdain. The violet light wine would definitely attract experts. He had to reach the blood ignition realm before he could use some martial techniques. For example, the ultimate divine dragon steps. Only by using the ultimate divine dragon steps would he be able to survive against experts. When the parrot heard Yi Qinghan say that old man Sun was weak, it was instantly energized. With a provocative look, it mocked, that's right. Do you think that you're invincible in the blood ignition realm? I'll slap you into the 100,000 mountains and guarantee that you won't be able to come back. Then what do you plan to do? Old man Sun's face was filled with black lines. He could not refute being called weak by 2 rookies and could only ask in a muffled voice. Help me purchase the ingredients for the violet light wine, as well as a rejuvenation pill and a blood eruption pill. You can pay for them in advance. I'll give you a grade 3 secret technique, Scarlet Fire Palm. It's enough to protect your life, Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Old man Sun's eyes widened. Grade 3 martial technique. Not to mention Jiangning County, even the Qingyang Kingdom only had a few copies of it. Yi Qinghan said that he would give it away. It felt like a dream. Don't resist. I'll transmit the secret technique of the scarlet fire palm to your sea of consciousness. Yi Qinghan pointed his finger and pressed it on Old Man Sun's forehead, transmitting his memories regarding the scarlet fire palm to Old Man Sun's sea of consciousness. Old Man Sun was stunned. He had lived for so long, but this was the first time he had seen such a tyrannical martial technique. Even in the Spirit Treasures Pavilion, there was no secret technique that could be compared to the scarlet fire palm. Anything that Yi Qinghan took a fancy to and collected was definitely not an ordinary item. It was the best of its kind. When the scarlet fire palm was cultivated to its peak, it could reach the peak of the Fate Palace realm. Legend had it that the founder of the Qingyang Kingdom was at the Fate Palace realm. He had lived for more than 300 years and had always guarded the Qingyang Kingdom. First, order people to purchase the ingredients and elixirs. As for how to sell them, we'll talk about it when the finished product is ready. Also, cultivate the scarlet fire palm as soon as possible. I don't want you to die so early. Yi Qinghan was very calm. Giving away a grade 3 martial technique was like giving away a blank piece of paper. He did not feel the slightest bit of heartache. Thank you, Mr. Yi. You must be the reincarnation of a great sage. Now that you're enlightened, I'll focus on protecting you as you grow. Old Man Sun vowed solemnly and said seriously. Go, I want to start cultivating as well. You'll be in charge for the next few days. I want to break through to the blood ignition realm as soon as possible. Yi Qinghan finished speaking and returned to the backyard with the jar of wine. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the bed and drank a big mouthful of purple luster wine. Spiritual qi covered the sky and covered the earth, engulfing his entire body and rushing to the top of his head. Phew! Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and began to temper his body. His strength rampaged through his body as if it wanted to break through the shackles of his body. His body was too weak. It was so weak that it could not support his explosive strength, let alone use martial techniques. The parrot was frightened by Yi Qinghan's aura and immediately rushed out of the room. It trembled as it looked at its master and muttered, "What a freak!" The spirit-devouring divine parrot sneaked into the front yard and was overjoyed when it found that Old Man Sun was not there. "Hee, do you think that I won't be able to find the elixirs just because you hid them? You're underestimating me, the spirit-devouring divine parrot. This divine bird is the world's most spiritual divine creature." The parrot scanned the room and locked its gaze on a large cabinet. The cabinet was already locked. It flapped its wings and its small beak continuously pecked like a woodpecker. The cabinet was only covered with a layer of iron, but it was broken in an instant. The parrot's beak was like a machine gun. It began to draw circles on the cabinet from the point where the cabinet was opened. It forcibly carved a hole the size of a human head in the cabinet. "Humph, you rotten old man. You dare to threaten this divine bird? Today, I'll eat all of your elixirs." The parrot tightened its wings and directly grabbed the cabinet. Only a rustling sound could be heard as the elixirs continued to disappear. If it was an ordinary person, it would be impossible for them to endlessly swallow elixirs. Their body would not be able to withstand it and the spiritual qi within the elixirs would break through their body. However, this spirit-devouring divine parrot was somewhat terrifying. It had swallowed dozens of elixirs as if they were playing around and was still crazily swallowing them. Suddenly, a light appeared in the dark cabinet. It gradually turned from white to pale gold, and finally to a rich gold. Dowdu, crunch crunch. I am a divine bird of the 9 heavens. I want to fly to the heavens and break through the universe, the parrot cheekily howled. Its entire body was emitting a golden light, and its feathers had turned into a pure gold color. Its body was even more robust and even a little bloated. Human elixirs are really good. They're so small, but they melt in my mouth. They don't even fill my stomach. TSK. I want to learn alchemy. The parrot recklessly continued to chew on elixirs. Half an hour later. Creak, with a crisp sound, the door was opened. The parrot's entire body trembled. It thought, not good, that rotten old man is back. Pa pa pa, the parrot desperately flapped its wings. It almost did not fly and fell out of the cabinet. It jogged back to the backyard and hid on Yi Qinghan's bed, pretending to be asleep. Yi Qinghan was too lazy to pay attention to it. He mobilized the true qi in his body to refine his muscles and meridians. His strength became increasingly tyrannical and had already climbed to 1,000 jin. He finally broke through to the fourth layer of body refinement. Boom, once he entered the fourth layer of body refinement, his true qi was boundless. It surged within his qi sea and reached a state of saturation. There was an inexhaustible amount of energy within his body. He got up and went to the backyard to practice the Yi family fist. He mastered it through a comprehensive study. Veins popped out all over his body. He shattered a rock with a punch, but he was unharmed. Ah! I'm going to kill you, you damn thief! An angry roar suddenly came from the front yard. The sharp and ear-piercing sound pierced through the air. Xiao, the entire Wanshan town trembled. The anger of a blood ignition realm cultivator was obviously not ordinary. Yi Qinghan stopped practicing and curiously walked towards the front yard. He did not understand why old man Sun was so angry. The parrot's entire body trembled. It directly clutched the blanket and did not even dare to poke its head out. It muttered, "Rotten old man is really stingy. Master gave you a third-grade secret technique. It's priceless. What's wrong with me eating a few of your elixirs?" In the front yard's hall, old man Sun's face turned purple and his entire body trembled. He was obviously angered. He looked at the big hole in the cabinet and opened the iron lock to take a look. Nearly 1,000 low-grade elixirs had been swallowed clean. They were worth more than 10,000 taels. Most importantly, these were not his elixirs, but the spirit treasures pavilions. Yi Qinghan arrived at the hall and took a look. He rolled his eyes and was speechless. He did not need to use his brain to know who did this. He could not help but mock himself, as expected of the devouring divine parrot. It's incurable. Where's that rotten bird? Old man Sun was flustered and exasperated. He rolled up his sleeves and was about to settle the score with it. Forget it. I'll compensate you for these low-grade elixirs in a few days. Have you sent out the notice to buy the spirit fruits? Yi Qinghan was helpless. He still had to bear the consequences of his spirit pet's actions. Humph, I'll give you some face. If that rotten bird dares to provoke me again, I'll skin it alive. Old man Sun was helpless. He had to give Yi Qinghan face. In the end, he sat down dispiritedly and weakly said, "I've already sent out the notice. As long as the snow does not seal off the mountain, there will definitely be people here within 3 days. Find someone you can trust and buy them all together. The more the better. Also, you can arrange for the sales. Sell them as soon as possible. I need to break through from the 8th to the 9th layer of body refinement within a month. I don't have time to help you." Yi Qinghan's heart was a bit anxious. He wanted to quickly enter the blood ignition realm. Otherwise, he would not have the slightest confidence in escaping from City Yunqiao. You take care of your own matters. I'll take care of things here. Mr. Sun had complete faith in Yi Qinghan. Breaking through from the 4th layer of body refinement to the 9th layer of body refinement within a month was a fool's dream to others. However, to Yi Qinghan, it was not a difficult matter at all. After he finished explaining everything, Yi Qinghan hugged the jug of wine and grasped the heavy wild saber as he walked towards a waterfall in the southwest part of Myriad Mountain Town. Chapter 16. The waterfall was about 50 to 60 meters high. The surrounding fog was thick, and the temperature was not as cold as other places. The flowers and plants were still green, and one could even see butterflies fluttering in the air. There was a deep pool under the waterfall. The temperature above was like a hot spring, but below 2 meters, the temperature could instantly freeze a person of the 5th level of body refinement to death. Yi Qinghan took off his jacket and walked towards the waterfall. The huge force of the waterfall could break through rocks, and when it hit his head, it was like being struck by lightning. Boom boom boom, Yi Qinghan's body was burning, and his true energy was flowing wildly. His skin was red, and his blood vessels were about to burst. Blood flowed out, dyeing the pool red. Ah! Yi Qinghan clenched his fist, and hit the cold rock with all his might. His body turned into a weapon, and it was completely self-destructive training. He used every part of his body to hit the rock as hard as steel. Boom boom boom, punches, elbows, knees, and whips. The piercing pain stimulated his soul and body. His already injured body was hit by the waterfall, and it became even more miserable. His strength was constantly being consumed, and his true energy flowed out, turning into strength. It rushed out of his body and flowed through his wounds, healing them continuously. Even his vast sea of qi was being exhausted. Yi Qinghan only felt that his legs were as heavy as lead, and he could not even stand properly. He was directly washed into the pool by the waterfall. Just as he touched the 2-meter deep water, he felt that his soul was about to be frozen. He immediately felt the threat of death, and desperately struggled to climb up. With great difficulty, he climbed to the shore, opened the wine jar and took a big gulp of purple light wine. His heart was in great pain, as if it was about to explode. Hu, breathing heavily, he used the purple light wine to heal his injured body, and to stimulate a new burst of strength. His potential was maximized. I'm about to break through. Yi Qinghan felt that his strength suddenly exploded with around 1,500 pounds of strength. The bottleneck of the 5th level of body refinement was beginning to loosen, and he was immediately overjoyed. Gulp, another mouthful of wine entered his stomach, and his spirit energy rampaged. His tired body quickly recovered, and his majestic strength broke through the clouds. Boom, he had broken through to the 5th layer of body refinement. Logically speaking, a person at the 5th body refinement realm should only have a strength of 1,600 pounds, but Yi Qinghan had directly rushed to 3,000 pounds. If combined with his martial skill, his strength would definitely be close to the 7th body refinement realm. After gulping down a few mouthfuls of violet light wine, his entire body was filled with energy. Once again, he dashed into the waterfall to continue tempering his body. His body was as sharp as a weapon, and his fists could break through the heavens. In Jiangning County, in the governor's residence, a black-clothed expert knelt respectfully in front of the main hall. He didn't dare to raise his head to look at the middle-aged man sitting on the throne. The middle-aged man's aura was extremely terrifying. His long black hair draped over his shoulders, and his eyes were sharp like an eagle's. His facial features were exquisite, and he could be considered as handsome as jade. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, adding to his arrogance and unruliness. He was the princess of Jiangning County, the young prince of Jiangning County, Situ Yunshao. Now, he held an important position and became a real prince of Jiangning. You said that vile spawn can cultivate, and his speed of improvement is very fast. Situ Yunshao looked down at the black-clothed man with an indifferent expression. Yes, Prince. And there's also news from Wanshan town that old man Sun of the Spirit Treasures Pavilion has also broken through to the Blood Ignition realm. It's somewhat inconceivable. That old man is clearly nearing the end of his life. Even if there were treasures, it would be impossible for him to break through. The black-clothed man prostrated himself on the ground, not daring to make the slightest movement. Don't worry about him. Isn't Yi Qinghan able to cultivate? Send someone to cripple him, break his qi, and break his arms and legs. But don't kill him, I'll let him live in pain. Situ Yunshao laughed coldly and evilly. My lord, crippling him isn't a problem. It's just that he's currently living in the Spirit Treasures Pavilion. If we make a move, Old Man Sun will definitely be alerted. The black-clothed man's expression was ugly. He was only at the 9th body refinement realm. Fighting with someone at the blood ignition realm, wasn't that seeking death? Will Sun Fizi follow him 24 hours a day? If you don't have the confidence, you can tell me and I'll send someone else. Situ Yunxiao coldly scolded, his eyes emitting killing intent. I'll do it right away. I'll definitely satisfy my lord. The black-clothed man's body trembled as he hurriedly replied. Changing someone else meant that his life would no longer exist. While you're at it, kill the youngest Yimengshi. I'll make Wang Xian her kneel and beg me. Lowly servant, you've made me a laughingstock. If it weren't for the Sky Sword sect stopping me, I would have destroyed Broken Sword Peak. I'll let you watch your family die one by one and let you live in pain forever. Ha ha ha. Situ Yunxiao laughed cruelly. His voice was cold and sinister, completely destroying his temperament. The black-clothed man's forehead was covered in sweat as he knelt and retreated. In the evening, Yi Qinghan had cultivated his strength to over 10,000 jin. He drank a jar of purple light wine clean. A cup of purple light wine allowed Old Man Sun to reach the blood ignition realm, but a jar of wine only allowed Yi Qinghan to reach the early 7th body refinement realm. But today, Yi Qinghan had changed a lot. It was as if he had grown 5 centimeters taller. The childishness on his face had faded away, and there was a sense of dignity and fortitude. His words and actions were like those of a superior, making others submit to him. I'm at the early stage of the martial artist realm. The remaining blood ginseng can allow me to reach the middle or even peak of the martial artist realm. Once I break through to the blood ignition realm, I can temporarily use some martial skills. Even if I can't kill strong people, I can at least protect myself. Yi Qinghan murmured. His gaze was not on guard against the body refinement realm, but against the blood ignition realm and even the bitter sea realm. Returning to the shore, he practiced the violent saber technique for a while. His stamina was quickly depleting. His strength and true qi could not support him to use these high-level secret techniques. Yi Qinghan turned into a ghost and shot towards Wanshan town. With thousands of lights, Wanshan town was filled with peace and tranquility. Little Meng Shi woke up from her dream and rubbed her little head. She felt refreshed. Her strength and true qi had increased by several times. Ah! How did I enter the 6th level of the qi cultivation realm? Meng Shi was confused. She scratched her head, not knowing what to do. Great little master, you must be a genius like me. The parrot ran out of the house and looked at Yi Meng Shi with a covetous face. Divine bird, I just dreamed that Grandpa Sun chased after you and beat you up. You didn't even dare to fight back. Meng Shi looked at the parrot with a pair of innocent eyes. Parrot. Don't treat your dreams as reality. How could a divine bird like me be chased and beaten up? Yi Qinghan had just returned to the backyard. He looked at the parrot and said unhappily, don't teach your bad habits to Meng Shi. What do you mean by bad habits? The parrot was even more dissatisfied. It raised its voice and glared at Yi Qinghan. However, it found that there was something wrong with his aura. It immediately lowered its voice and finally shut up. Wang Shi was cooking dinner. The fragrance of the food filled the backyard and attracted Old Man Sun's covetous face. Yi Qinghan smelled the fragrance and couldn't help but rub his stomach. A day of hard cultivation had consumed too much energy. Hee, you came at the right time. Let's have dinner together. Old Man Sun was used to being alone. He made do with whatever he ate and didn't know how to cook. Now that Wang Shi had made such delicious food, the roundworm in his stomach began to rebel. Let's eat together. The more the merrier. Yi Qinghan didn't refuse. In his previous life, he had missed too much time with his family because of cultivation. Perhaps he could make up for it in this life. Wang Shi was flattered to see Old Man Sun, a strong martial artist, come to eat with her. These 10 years of training had made her humble and pitiful. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. This situation couldn't be resolved in a day or two. Wang Shi was a slave to her bones. As long as others didn't bully her family, grovel, or curry favor with them, she didn't care at all. The 4 of them and the parrot could be considered a happy reunion. However, they didn't know that 5 men in black had rushed out of Jiangning County. All of them were at the 9th level of the body refinement stage. They were at the peak of martial artists. Their destination was very clear. They were heading straight for Wanshan town. Let's split the work. I will deal with Yi Qinghan. 5th brother, you go kill Yi Mengshi. 2nd brother will be responsible for luring Old Man Sun away. However, don't fight to the death and don't reveal your identity. We can't afford to offend them and we can't beat them. The leader of the men in black said in a deep voice. Got it, boss. There's no need to make a fuss over 2 kids. The men in black were full of disdain. In their eyes, even if Yi Qinghan could cultivate, he would still be a piece of trash. As for Yi Mengshi, she was just a 5-year-old child. Could she do anything? The 5 of them were extremely fast. They shuttled through the small roads and took advantage of the gray sky. After 6 hours, they appeared not far from Wanshan town. In the center of Wanshan town, in the Spirit Treasures Pavilion, the family was happily eating. Wang Shi's cooking was very delicious. Old Man Sun drank a few mouthfuls of the wine he brewed himself. No matter how hard he tried, it didn't taste good. In the end, he threw it away. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched. He gripped the heavy berserk saber under the table as if he felt something. As a Tao sovereign, his soul was very sensitive to the arrival of danger. Old Man Sun saw Yi Qinghan's abnormality and immediately spread out his consciousness. However, he didn't find anything. He couldn't help but ask, what's wrong? It's nothing. Let's talk after dinner, Yi Qinghan replied indifferently. After dinner, Yi Qinghan walked out of the living room. He held the heavy berserk saber and looked at the starry sky. He thought to himself, it's earlier than I thought. However, now that I've exhausted all my strength, killing a blood ignition realm cultivator shouldn't be a problem. I hope there won't be too many of them. Parrot, from tonight onwards, you will follow Mengshi and protect her. Kill anyone who dares to attack her. Yi Qinghan's aura turned cold. It was as if he had climbed out of an iceberg. Understood, master. Leave little master's safety to me. As long as it's not a blood ignition realm cultivator, I will crush him in a matter of minutes. The parrot promised solemnly. If even a strand of her hair is harmed, I will hold you responsible. Yi Qinghan looked coldly at the unreliable parrot and warned it. The parrot shrank its head and nodded continuously like a chick pecking at rice. Old Man Sun followed them out. When he saw Yi Qinghan's expression, he guessed that someone had approached Wanshan town. Even if he hadn't discovered it, he trusted Yi Qinghan very much. What should I do? Old Man Sun asked. Let nature take its course. It's fine if we don't do anything, but if we do, we'll destroy them. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up. As long as they didn't surpass the blood ignition realm, no matter how many came, they would all die. Soon, the 5 black-clothed men couldn't help but approach the Spirit Treasures Pavilion. However, they didn't know that they had already entered the range of Yi Qinghan's consciousness defense. 5 people at the peak of the martial artist realm. Yi Qinghan relaxed a lot. Now, he could already compare to them with ordinary martial arts. With the help of Old Man Sun and the parrot, he didn't have to worry about Mengshi and Wang Shi. Chapter 17. The night was dark and the moonlight was weak. All the lights in Wanshan town were extinguished, as if a storm was coming. Yi Qinghan put away the blood ginseng and placed the heavy berserk saber beside his bed. After recovering his strength, he closed his eyes and waited for the storm to come. 100 meters away from Lingbao Hall, the 5 men in black looked at each other. According to their previous agreement, the 3 peak martial artists would approach Lingbao Hall and lure Old Man Sun away. Yi Qinghan would also come out of his room, and the rest would be easy. Caw caw caw, a few special bird calls broke the silence of the night, but Old Man Sun turned over and went back to sleep as if he didn't hear anything. The 3 men in black looked at each other. How could a blood ignition realm cultivator not hear such an obvious sound? Pa! A stone was shot into Old Man Sun's room. Old Man Sun was furious. He opened the window and roared, "Little bastard, do you want to die? If you dare to disturb my sleep again, I'll beat you all the way to your hometown." The 3 men in black suddenly trembled. Being targeted by a blood ignition realm cultivator, they felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave and hurriedly ran away. Leaving the center of Wanshan town, the 5 men in black were helpless. If this old man doesn't leave, we can only wait. I don't believe that Old Man Sun will stay in Lingbao Hall all day long. Yi Qinghan can cultivate, so it's impossible that he won't come out to train. The leader of the men in black said in a low voice. The cold night wind blew and the 5 men in black couldn't help but tremble. It was already the cold season and looking at the weather, it was a sign of snow. It was exceptionally cold and the wind was bone-chilling. They didn't dare to light a fire and could only shiver to keep warm. After a sleepless night, Yi Qinghan was in a half-awake state. At least the room was warm, while the people outside were almost frozen into popsicles. After breakfast, Yi Qinghan thought for a while and decided to take the initiative. These people waiting in Wanshan town would probably not leave until they finished their mission, which would restrict their thoughts. He didn't inform Wang Shi. Instead, he said a few words to Xiao Mengshi and followed Old Man Sun to the main hall. I'll go to Linyuan waterfall in Nanshan and lure them away. You meet me after the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. Today, we'll catch them all in one fell swoop. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. Is it safe to leave Xiao Mengshi and Madame Wang here? Old Man Sun asked worriedly. They'll leave at most 1 person here. Their main target is still me. Parrot and Mengshi can easily kill a 9th-layer body refinement cultivator. Yi Qinghan replied in a low voice. Are there any more pills? Give me a few vitality pills. Yi Qinghan was very cautious. This time it was very dangerous. The opponent was in the 9th layer of the body refinement realm. If he didn't pay attention and rushed forward, it would be very easy for him to run out of stamina. Primary energy pill, 1 pill was worth 20 silvers. It was a pill used to replenish true qi. A single primary energy pill could allow a person at the 6th rank of body refinement to quickly recover their true qi. But for a weirdo like Yi Qinghan, he didn't even use a single bottle. This pill's grade was too low. Old Man Sun generously threw out a bottle with more than 100 pills. Be careful. This old man doesn't want to help you raise your sister and mother. Old Man Sun said seriously. Don't worry. If I die in the hands of a few rookies, I won't have any face. Yi Qinghan smiled slightly and put away the primary energy pills and blood ginseng. Holding his heavy berserk blade, he walked out of Wanshan town. The 5 black-clothed men hid at the foot of the mountain. Their faces were purple from the cold. Seeing Yi Qinghan walk out of Wanshan town, they couldn't help but be overjoyed. Ha ha ha. This kid really doesn't want to walk the path to heaven and barge into hell. The black-clothed 5th brother laughed loudly. Could it be a trap? We provoked him yesterday, but Old Man Sun didn't come out. Will he let Yi Qinghan go out today? The black-clothed leader couldn't help but frown and ask. 2nd brother, 3rd brother, 5th brother, you guys keep an eye on the Spirit Treasures Pavilion. Fourth brother and I will finish this quickly. Once Old Man Sun comes out of the Spirit Treasures Pavilion, fifth brother will stay behind to kill Yi Mengxi. Second brother and third brother will keep Old Man Sun busy. Once we succeed, send the signal and leave immediately. The black-clothed leader looked at the other four and said in a deep voice. No problem. The other four black-clothed men replied in unison and quickly split into two groups. One group headed straight for Wanshan town while the other followed Yi Qinghan closely. Yi Qinghan arrived at the bottom of the waterfall and continued to practice his basic knife skills. He spread his consciousness outwards to prevent a sneak attack from peak martial artists. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Yi Qinghan's knife skills were as fast as lightning. Even if it was just a basic knife skill, it was still a rank 1 martial skill. It looked exceptionally powerful. Spinning slash. 12 styles of leaving hand. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In an instant, he unleashed 12 knives that were incomparably sharp. The vast amount of energy and true chi was enough to support a rank 1 martial skill. What a strong knife skill. Where did this kid get it from? The black-clothed leader frowned and was somewhat puzzled. A martial skill, even if it was a first-grade martial skill, was worth tens of thousands of silvers. After all, the most powerful sect in Jiangning County was only a second-grade martial skill. Yi Qinghan's basic saber skill could be considered a treasure in the Sky Sword sect. Don't tell me he has a strong martial artist teaching him. Could it be Old Man Sun? The other black-clothed man and the leader hid 200 meters away and a trace of seriousness appeared in their eyes. It can't be him. If Old Man Sun had such a martial skill, he would have broken through to the blood ignition realm long ago. Why would he wait until now? Then should we kill him or not? Of course we should kill him. If we don't kill him, can we still live? We might even implicate our families. The two men whispered as they slowly approached the waterfall. However, they did not know that Yi Qinghan secretly took out a few energy pills and put them in his mouth, waiting for them to appear. In Wanshan town, Old Man Sun walked out of his house with a flagon of wine and immediately attracted the attention of the three black-clothed men. The second and third brothers followed silently. The fifth brother stayed behind and waited until Old Man Sun walked out of Wanshan town before sneaking into the Lingbao Hall. The fifth brother entered the Lingbao Hall and quickly closed the door before rushing to the backyard. In the backyard, Yi Mengxi was practicing the Extreme Heaven Origin skill. When a strong martial artist approached, the true qi in her body immediately sounded an alarm. Little Mengxi looked up at the black-clothed man and kept retreating. She asked cautiously, "Who are you? What do you want?" "Mortals, back off. You are not allowed to come near the little master. Otherwise, I will go crazy." The parrot stood on little Mengxi's shoulder and kept flapping its wings. However, it was too fat and could not fly even if it wanted to. It looked a little funny. The black-clothed man could not help but laugh. He looked at little Mengxi and revealed an evil smile. "What a tender little girl. You are just like your mother when she was young. You are a real beauty. It would be a pity if you died like this." The black-clothed man looked at the cute little Mengxi and had evil thoughts. He was not worried about this 5-year-old child and the fat parrot. He kept approaching. 10 meters, 8 meters, the parrot used its little claws to hint little Mengxi to act pitiful. In addition, the man and the parrot had already agreed on a strategy. Little Mengxi's acting was very realistic. She was definitely a movie queen. She looked pitiful as she looked at the black-clothed man with her big watery eyes and moved back with small steps. Ha ha ha. The black-clothed man laughed maniacally and reached out to grab Yi Mengxi. He thought that it would be easy, but he did not expect the fat parrot to transform into a sharp sword and spit out a mouthful of fire like a phoenix. Ha! The black-clothed man was shocked. He did not have time to dodge and quickly used his hands to protect his face. Suddenly, all his hair was burnt. Heaven-breaking mountain style. Yi Mingxi moved the moment the parrot moved. She stretched out her little hand and the majestic qi in her body shot out from her fingertips towards the black-clothed man's throat. Her movements were extremely fast. She did not look like a 5-year-old child at all. The black-clothed man's hair stood on end. His head was surrounded by fire and he could not see what was in front of him. He could only wave his hand and hit the parrot. He was powerless to stop Yi Mingxi's attack. In his opinion, a 5-year-old child would not be able to do much even if she hit him. Boom! Bam! The parrot was hit by thousands of pounds of force. Its body was like a kite with a broken string as it smashed into the wall. The wall collapsed and the parrot rolled a few times. Its fat body blocked the sharp qi. Bam! Puff! With a muffled sound, Yi Mingxi's attack hit the black-clothed man's throat. The qi sealed his windpipe and caused the black-clothed man to suffer a heavy blow. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and tears. His burned face was black and white and his consciousness was in a daze. Heaven-breaking mountain style. Yi Mingxi's figure turned and came to the left side of the black-clothed man. She turned her palm into a fist and hit the man's waist. Bam! The force of thousands of pounds hit the man's soft flesh. Even a peak 9th rank cultivator would not be able to withstand it. He was forced back 4 or 5 steps. He wanted to use his qi to counterattack, but he did not expect Yi Mingxi's qi to rush into his qi. His qi was messed up and he almost fainted. Damn you! How dare you hit this divine bird? Die! The parrot rolled a few times in the room and got up again. It spread its wings and shot towards the black-clothed man's head like an arrow. Its sharp beak could even chisel a hole in iron, let alone a human's head. Dong dong dong. Da. The parrot turned into a woodpecker and pecked the black-clothed man's head. The black-clothed man was completely confused. His head was in pain and he could not breathe. His waist felt like it was broken. Heaven-breaking mountain style. Yi Mingxi used the last of her strength and stepped on the black-clothed man's thigh. Her body jumped up and her fist was wrapped in qi. It was so sharp that it almost burned. It hit the black-clothed man's head. Boom! The black-clothed man fell to the ground. His head was invaded by qi. His eyes rolled back and he fainted. A dignified 9th body refinement layer expert, a peak martial artist expert, had been tricked by a parrot, but had been taken care of by a 5-year-old child in 3 attacks. This black-clothed man was truly unlucky. Because Yi Mingxi was young, the parrot couldn't fly, so he let his guard down. But what he didn't know was that the parrot had no bottom line and no integrity, so how could it not fly? Yeah. Little Master is great. We won. The parrot flapped its wings and returned to Yi Mingxi's shoulder. It looked at the unconscious black-clothed man with disdain, as if it was very strong. You can spit fire. Are you a phoenix? Yi Mingxi asked curiously. Phoenix? My distant relative. This little fire is nothing. Wait until I evolve my bloodline. I can burn him to death with a single breath. Do you think you will have the chance to stand? The parrot said arrogantly. The other 4 black-clothed men did not know that the 5th brother they sent to deal with a 5-year-old girl had been defeated. Under the waterfall, Yi Qinghan's back was facing the black-clothed men. He ate a few more energy pills and his basic knife skills had been perfected. The leader of the black-clothed men saw that it was about time and shouted in a low voice, "Make your move. Finish this quickly." Ding! A sword light pierced through the clouds and pierced towards Yi Qinghan's back. It was as fast as lightning. Chapter 18. A ray of sword light pierced through the clouds and pierced towards Yi Qinghan's back. It was as fast as lightning. Without a doubt, if Yi Qinghan was not prepared, this man in black would be able to pierce through his body and destroy his sea of qi. Unfortunately, Yi Qinghan had the soul of a Tao master. How could he let him succeed? Whirlwind slash. Yi Qinghan suddenly turned around and slashed his saber down towards the man's head. It was as fast as lightning and was impossible to defend against. The man in black was shocked. He felt as if he was going to fall under the saber. If the saber slashed down, he would be able to pierce through Yi Qinghan's body, but he would also be cut into two by Yi Qinghan. He did not dare to die together with Yi Qinghan, so he could only defend himself and block the heavy frenzy saber with his sword. Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a mocking smile. His saber fell from the sky and destroyed everything in its path. With a crisp sound of a dagger, the man in black's sword was cut into two by the heavy frenzy saber. Pucci, not only did the heavy frenzy saber break the sword, it also pierced the man in black's shoulder. If he did not react quickly enough, the heavy frenzy saber would definitely have split his head open. Ah! The man in black screamed in agony. He was forced to kneel on the ground by the vast force. The rocks on the ground were shattered and his kneecaps were shattered. Yi Qinghan, who was at the peak of a martial artist, had tried to assassinate a beginner martial artist. He did not expect to be defeated in one move and be severely injured. The leader of the black-clothed men was shocked. Before he could help, he saw Yi Qinghan kick the fourth leader in the chest, sending him flying. 12 forms of leaving hand. Yi Qinghan groaned. The saber in his hand emitted a monstrous aura. In an instant, he had slashed 12 times and dismembered a martial artist at the peak of a martial artist. Yi Qinghan sheathed his saber and turned around. Fighting was also a skill. Yi Qinghan stood tall and proud. He looked at the leader of the black-clothed men who was 100 meters away. The corner of his mouth twitched, revealing a cold smile. He crushed a rock with his foot and rushed towards his opponent like a sharp sword. Ta-ta-ta, every step was more than 10 meters. The man in black felt a chill and his body tensed. He pulled out his sword and released a monstrous aura, trying to intimidate Yi Qinghan. Extreme Dragon Steps. Heavy Frenzy God Slaying. Xiao, with a sharp sound, Yi Qinghan's figure suddenly disappeared, turning into a beam of light. With a backhand slash, he brushed past the most powerful peak martial artist. Yi Qinghan's body brushed past his shoulder. After traveling more than 10 meters, Yi Qinghan knelt on one knee, the heavy frenzy saber in his right hand pressed against his right arm. A drop of blood appeared on the blade. Plop, the leader of the men in black who was about to enter the blood ignition realm was blown by a gust of wind and fell to the ground. His head was separated from his neck. His head rolled a few times on the ground. His eyes were like lanterns, filled with fear and despair. Huff huff huff, Yi Qinghan used a rank 5 skill. The leader of the men in black was killed in one strike. He breathed out a mouthful of turbid air and desperately tried to breathe. His body was weak and powerless. At this moment, even a rookie at the first level of the body refinement realm could kill him. He had used up all of his strength and true qi to unleash 2 types of superb 5th-grade martial arts skills. He took out the blood ginseng and swallowed a third of it. It turned into a monstrous amount of spiritual energy that rushed to his limbs and bones. Even his meridians and body were almost broken. Ah, the spiritual energy of the blood ginseng was too strong. It was a rank 4 spiritual medicine. Yi Qinghan wanted to explode. He stood up and roared. 3,000 strands of black hair flew back and pierced into the void like steel needles. The qi in his qi sea quickly recovered. It even broke through the 8th level of the body refinement realm and entered the middle martial artist realm. At the same time, his soul, body and strength became even stronger. A tornado appeared outside Myriad Mountain Town. Yi Qinghan, who had transformed into the demon of slaughter, rushed towards Myriad Mountain Town. His eyes shot out a terrifying light. The ethereal flying celestial steps made him look like both a celestial and a demon. His black clothes made the sky dim. On the way, he coincidentally met Old Man Sun, who was playing with two men in black. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, "Kill." Old Man Sun turned around and grinned. He looked at the people from Jiangning County who were pretending to be passers-by. He stretched out his hand and slapped them. His palms were red. His scarlet fire palm had obviously been trained to a certain level. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, white smoke rose from the air. It was ignited by Old Man Sun's palms. The two men in black were so scared that they frantically ran away. Whoosh, Yi Qinghan crushed the ground with his foot and immediately found an opponent. In the blink of an eye, he rushed behind the opponent. The black-clothed man thought that this was an opportunity to severely injure Yi Qinghan, so he turned around and used his tyrannical strength to charge at Yi Qinghan. 12 styles of leaving hand. Boom. Bang. With a loud bang, the opponent's sword was easily cut in half. Yi Qinghan slashed out more than 10 times in an instant. Each slash carried a sharp sword aura. The 12 styles of leaving hand blade were fast and unpredictable. It was not something that a person of the 9th level of the body refinement realm could handle. Before Old Man Sun's palm could land on Yi Qinghan's opponent was dismembered. Old Man Sun and the remaining person were completely dumbfounded. They stood up and looked at Yi Qinghan as if they were looking at a demon. "You deal with this person yourself. After you deal with him, help me collect his body. There are 2 more bodies under the waterfall. I'll go back to the Spirit Treasures Pavilion to take a look." Yi Qinghan threw out these words and turned to rush towards the center of Wanshan town. In the Spirit Treasures Pavilion, the pitiful 5th brother had just woken up when he was pecked unconscious by the parrot. His clothes were burned into tatters. The cycle repeated over and over again, but he was not completely killed. "You damned bird." Old 5th was on the verge of death. He looked at the proud face of the parrot, and his heart was filled with anger. "I am a great divine bird. How dare you blaspheme me?" The parrot stepped on the 5th brother's chest and fiercely pecked off one of his fingers. Ah! The fingers were connected to the heart. The 5th brother's face turned purple and he kept screaming. His originally dignified face was now completely black. On one hand, it was because he was angry, and on the other hand, it was because he was burned. Little Meng Shi used the dying 5th brother as a target. She kept attacking and practicing her extreme heaven origin skill. In the end, the pitiful 5th brother was tortured until he fainted again. Yi Qinghan hurried back home. When he saw this scene, he could not help but smile. His impression of the parrot improved by 3 points. "A reward for you," Yi Qinghan said indifferently as he threw the remaining dozen energy pills and 1/3 of the blood ginseng on the stone table. "Thank you, Master, for your generous gift. With this blood ginseng, this divine bird can upgrade its bloodline. It is equivalent to the human's blood ignition realm. I can better protect the little master." The parrot was shameless. It kept eating the blood ginseng, but there were no signs of it dying. "Okay." Yi Qinghan nodded. He was too lazy to say anything to this immoral fellow. He turned around and looked at the black-clothed man lying in a pool of blood. He slapped him awake and looked down at him. The 5th brother smiled bitterly and cursed, "Yi Qinghan, you are dead. Your whole family is dead. If the Duke knows that the mission has failed, he will definitely send a blood ignition realm expert. I want to see how you can escape. You don't need to worry about this. If you want to die quickly, then answer my questions. Otherwise, I will make you regret being born into this world." Yi Qinghan said coldly. He. Kill me. Don't even think of getting half a word from me. Being killed by you is better than offending the Duke." The 5th brother sneered. "Is that so? I will let you understand that offending me is much more terrifying than offending Sita Yunxiao. Yi Qinghan said to Yi Mengshi with a cold look in his eyes. Mengshi, go to the house. Okay. Little Mengshi obediently went back to the house. The corners of Yi Qinghan's mouth curled up slightly. He grabbed one of Old Fifth's fingers and twisted it hard. With a crack, the finger broke. Before Old Fifth could even scream, Yi Qinghan had already wrapped his hand around Old Fifth's throat and sealed his windpipe with his true qi. Ugh! Ah! The fifth brother's body twitched. He wanted to roar but couldn't. His face was distorted and he could only breathe heavily. Crack, there were a few more sounds of bones breaking. Yi Qinghan broke 5 of the fifth brother's fingers. He gathered his true energy in his palm and turned the fifth brother's left hand into a bloody mess. Oh my God, so cruel. The parrot trembled and spread its wings to protect its eyes. It hurriedly ran into the house. The bloated parrot ran like a duck. The fifth brother was tortured beyond recognition. Yi Qinghan's true energy had already entered his body and was constantly cutting his blood and bones. The heart-wrenching pain was as if millions of worms were devouring his body. Pa pa pa, after the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, Yi Qinghan's eyebrows didn't even twitch. He sat on the stone bench and looked coldly at the fifth brother. He then hit several of his major acupuncture points to seal his pain and unseal his windpipe so that he could make a sound. I have plenty of patience. As long as you are willing to play with me, I can play with you until you find a way to step into hell. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Huff huff huff, the fifth brother's face was full of sweat and his body was soaked. He was constantly gasping for breath. When he looked at Yi Qinghan again, his eyes were full of fear and hatred. Answer me, what is Sita Yunxiao's current cultivation level? Yi Qinghan looked down at the fifth brother and asked in a low voice. He is a bitter sea stage expert. The fifth brother didn't dare to compete with Yi Qinghan. He couldn't bear the pain a second time. How many bitter sea stage experts are there with him? Yi Qinghan continued to ask. There are 2 early-stage bitter sea stage experts. They are the commander of the Red Blood Army, Ao Lai, and the manager of the inner house, Xian Fei. The fifth brother didn't dare to say more and answered whatever was asked. What did he send you here for? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Break your qi, break your limbs, kill Yi Mengshi. The fifth brother discovered that Yi Qinghan's aura had suddenly changed. It was cold, gloomy, heartless, and filled with killing intent. He didn't even have the courage to speak. Kakik, Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fists and sneered. He flicked his finger and a stream of aura shot into the fifth brother's throat. The fifth brother's legs suddenly stopped moving and his eyes dimmed. He died. Sita Yunxiao. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. Bitter sea stage, I will make you sink into the sea of bitterness forever. Qinghan, I'm back. Is anyone hurt? Old man Sun rushed into the backyard. Seeing the fifth brother lying on the ground, he couldn't help but let out a breath of foul air. It's fine. Help me get rid of this corpse and try to buy some time. Yi Qinghan said calmly. Increase the price of the purple light fruit and speed up the process. Sita Yunxiao won't give me too much time. Yi Qinghan felt that the danger was approaching. His eyes revealed an ominous glint like a wolf. Chapter 19. That afternoon, Old Man Sun offered a high price for the purple light fruit and a series of other materials. The entire Wanshan town was in an uproar. The purple light fruit was originally 100 taels of silver per tael, but now it had been pushed to 200 taels. The price of the wine grass and other supplementary materials had also increased by 30%. The Yi family's Yi Kuang personally led a large group of hunters into the mountains to search for treasures. The Su and Wang families' forces followed Su Haran and Wang Sun to the 100,000 mountains. The group of people were all working for Yi Qinghan, but they were completely unaware of it. Yi Qinghan sped up his cultivation. Time was running out. If he did not reach the blood ignition realm, his life would be at the gates of hell. Yi Qinghan looked at the remaining one-third of the blood ginseng, which was less than half a caddy. He gave a fifth of it to Yi Mengxi and swallowed the rest. His body was filled with energy, and his blood and qi were almost burning as he dug out his potential. Hu hu hu, Yi Qinghan performed the Yi family style with vigor and vigor. Little Mengxi followed beside him, and her movements were synchronized. It was extremely pleasing to watch. Tiger leaves the cage. Dragon fights in the wild. Boom boom boom, hoo hoo, the two of them improved very quickly, especially Yi Mengxi. She was young, but her perception was fast. With the blood ginseng's effects, she quickly broke through the 6th level of qi cultivation and entered the 7th level, becoming an early-stage martial artist. However, her strength was not great, but her qi was as vast as the sea. It surged in her qi sea and opened it up to the half-step perfection realm. Yi Qinghan gradually approached the peak of the 8th level of body refinement. His strength had reached 40,000 jin, and a single punch was enough to crush a rank 1 beast like a bear or tiger. There would not be any problems moving within 100 miles of the 100,000 mountains. The blood ginseng spirit energy had been exhausted and had completely merged with his blood and bones. Big brother has something to do. You should cultivate the ethereal flying steps well. When you reach the blood ignition realm, I will teach you the ultimate dragon god steps. Okay. Yi Mengxi nodded seriously and cultivated with even more vigor. Yi Qinghan looked around and did not find where the parrot went. Even his senses were very weak. It should have gone beyond 100 miles. This fellow is so fast. I've only been cultivating for an hour and it's already 50 kilometers away. Yi Qinghan was rather speechless. The bitter cold was about to descend. Judging from the color of the sky, it was likely going to snow soon. Yi Qinghan frowned and walked towards the front yard. Old man Sun reclined comfortably in his chair. When he sensed Yi Qinghan's arrival, he said, "Wait patiently. The purple light fruits will arrive in an endless stream very soon. I'm afraid it's going to snow. Within 2 days, the snow will definitely seal off the mountain," Yi Qinghan said with certainty. Snow sealing the mountain? It's fine. I've already asked someone to purchase the purple light fruit and other materials from Jiangning County. Furthermore, I've also applied for a sales channel from the Spirit Treasures Pavilion's Lord Deacon. I believe that the elder will definitely be interested. Old man Sun raised his eyebrows and looked outside. He discovered that the sky was bright and the air had become abnormally cold. Before the snow seals the mountains, 10,000 beasts will roar in unison. There will be a beast tide. Don't you understand? Yi Qinghan asked with a frown. Ah. Beast tide. Old man Sun finally became serious. His expression was solemn as he recalled that all the young adults of Wanshan town had already entered the Shirwan mountains. Unknowingly, Wang Shi walked in from the backyard. When she heard that there was a beast tide, her expression changed drastically. She hurriedly said, "Qinghan, Mr. Sun, go and inform them to hurry back to town. Once there's a beast tide, it's all over. There's no time. It'll snow in 2 hours at the latest. According to the weather, 4 hours is enough to seal off the mountain. I won't be able to find them and bring them out in 4 hours. Mother, don't worry about this matter. Furthermore, if we repay evil with good, how will they repay good?" Yi Qinghan said softly. Sigh. You said it yourself. All the young adults of Wanshan town have entered the Shirwan mountains. If something happens to all of them, how many more mothers and sons will there be like us in this town? Moreover, I owe the Yi family. If I hadn't been so stubborn back then. Wang Shi was sad. She was still kind and willing to repay evil with good. Yi Qinghan slowly walked towards the main gate. He saw that the snow was already falling like goose feathers. It looked extremely beautiful, but it contained a life-threatening danger. Roar! Within the Shirwan Mountains, tens of thousands of beasts roared and rushed out of their nests. They were ready to search for the last bit of food to survive the bitter days when the snow sealed off the mountain. The beasts roared and killed each other. More and more first-grade beasts wreaked havoc and devoured the beasts that were not of the first grade. Blood flowed like a river. The snow came without warning. It was as if the sky had been broken. It poured out and instantly covered the mountains. Heaven and earth were silvery white. The 3 hunter families were in trouble. A large number of beasts wreaked havoc. The beast tide made them feel desperate. Gather quickly. Gather. Archers on the inside and martial artists on the outside. Whoosh! Several ear-piercing sounds caused a large number of warriors to rush to the gathering point. The hundreds of people from the 3 families were in a mess. In just a few breaths, more than 10 people were injured. Yi Kuang was shocked. His face was solemn. Looking at the white snow falling, his heart turned cold. The raging wind caused everyone to lose their sense of direction. Although the snow did not completely seal off the mountain, it blocked everyone's vision. Does the heavens want us to die? Yi Kuang exclaimed. Roar! Roar! The lions roared and the wild wolves howled as they surrounded the people from Myriad Mountain Town. Thousands of ferocious beasts surrounded the experts from the 3 clans. Yi Kuang. Wang Sun, let's cooperate and gather together. Otherwise, we will have no chance of survival. Su Haoran was now in the 9th level of the body refinement realm. He quickly calmed down and shouted at the Yi and Wang families. Quick, break out of the encirclement and gather. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, 3 huge circles began to rotate. The archers were desperately shooting arrows. Their hands were sore, but they had no choice but to give it their all. The warriors on the outer circle were fighting and supporting each other to prevent the archers from being attacked. The innermost circle was filled with the younger generation of the 3 families. At this moment, the eyes of the younger generation were filled with despair. They had never seen so many beasts rushing towards them. Many of them were even ranked beasts. Ranked beasts were extremely powerful, comparable to a human in the 4th or 5th level of the body refinement realm. It's over. Ah! Father, I want to go home. Su Ziman, Wang Xiaoyun, Yi Changlong, Yi Tsonghu, and the others from the Yi family were all trembling in fear. They had no fighting power and could only rely on the older generation to protect them. Shut up, all of you. Save your strength and prepare to replace your uncles for a while. Su Haoran shouted. In Wanshan town, Yi Qinghan shook his head. He knew that the situation was already set in stone. Those who entered Wanshan town would have no chance. In this kind of weather, once they entered 50 li into the mountains, even a blood ignition realm cultivator would die. What a pity. This time, the Yi, Wang, and Su families have all moved out. Those at home are all old, weak, sick, and disabled. Our future days won't be easy. Old man Sun was sad and helpless. At this moment, many women, children, and elders rushed in from outside the Spirit Treasures Pavilion and knelt down. We beg Mr. Sun to save our husband. Our family's laborers have all entered the mountains to search for the purple light fruit. Now that the snow has sealed the mountains, they can't come out. We beg Grandpa Sun to save our father. These people were all ordinary women and children from Wanshan town. They were not from the Wang, Su, and Yi families. Yi Qinghan's expression changed slightly. It seemed that there were more than a few hundred people entering the mountains. There could be more than 1,000 people. These people had all entered the mountains because Old Man Sun had announced that he was buying the purple light fruit at a high price. Old Man Sun and Yi Qinghan were partly responsible for this. I will enter the mountains to search for them. After all, I am still in the blood ignition realm. I might be able to come out, Old Man Sun said through gritted teeth. The snow will get heavier and heavier. You won't have a chance to enter the mountains. Moreover, your martial technique is the scarlet fire palm. In the 100,000 mountains where the cold snow has sealed the mountains, your blood ignition realm cultivator will at most be able to display the strength of a peak martial artist, Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Then what should we do? We can't just watch as close to 1,000 people die in the 100,000 mountains. Old Man Sun said helplessly. Yi Qinghan was silent. He looked at the sky and knew that if he entered the mountains, he wouldn't be able to distinguish the direction even if he was surrounded by white snow. He also had to deal with so many ferocious beasts. A large group of women and children knelt outside the door. They weren't willing to listen to Old Man Sun's words. In their opinion, if Old Man Sun went, then there would be a chance. If he didn't go, then there would be no chance at all. Shio. This divine bird has returned. I found a treasure. The parrot turned into a bolt of lightning and shot onto Yi Qinghan's shoulder. Master, I found a treasure. 120 li away from the 100,000 mountains, there is a cave with a large amount of stalactite essence. Hee hee. The parrot covered Yi Qinghan's ear and whispered. How did you find your way back in such heavy snow? Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed as he asked in a low voice. I just flew back like this. How could this little snow make this divine bird lose its way? The parrot said disdainfully. If we enter the mountains now, can you still find your way back? Yi Qinghan hurriedly asked. Absolutely no problem. By the way, when I came back, I saw that group of bastards. Hee hee, they were surrounded by many ferocious beasts. I even cheered for them for a while. The parrot said proudly. Yi Qinghan was overjoyed. He quickly said to Wang Shi, Mother, I will go into the mountains to save them. Give me your Qinkuan bag. Wang Shi had a large Qinkuan bag. She had it when she was still the little princess of the Broken Sword Peak. She had never used it until now. Yi Qinghan naturally knew about it. Are you sure you can come back? Wang Shi was quite worried and somewhat unwilling. It wasn't that she didn't care about the lives of so many people, but she cared too much about Yi Qinghan. No problem. The parrot can recognize the way. Yi Qinghan hurriedly stretched out his hand to ask for the Qinkuan bag. Wang Shi took out the Qinkuan bag tied to her waist. She trembled slightly and handed it over to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took the Qinkuan bag and said to Old Man Sun, Before I come back, you are not allowed to leave Meng Shi and my mother's side, no matter how important the matter is. Let little Meng Shi teach you the ethereal flying immortal. Whoosh, after Yi Qinghan finished speaking, he rushed into the heavy snow with the parrot. All of you, get up and go home to wait in peace. Qinghan has already entered the mountains. He is stronger than me. If he can't save them, I will be even more powerless. Old Man Sun said in a low voice. Chapter 20. 100,000 mountain range was covered in snow. It was like a fairyland, but no one knew that an unfair massacre was taking place. Yi Kuang, Su Haoran and the other two stood at the front line, giving more people a chance to survive. Go back, take a mountain and use it as a base to resist the beast horde. Yi Kuang was bathed in a river of blood as he fought desperately. However, he was getting weaker and weaker. It was only a matter of time before he was devoured by the beasts. The other villagers of Wanshan town were also gathering, but more than 10 of them had died. These villagers were all powerful archers, or else they would not have dared to enter the mountain alone. Archers, take turns to rest. Make sure there is a hill 30 meters behind you. Charge. The large group moved quickly. There were already more than 1,000 people gathered. The entire Wanshan town, except for the elderly, women and children, was here. Once the defensive line was broken, Wanshan Town would be finished. Roar, the unknown beasts and birds were extremely ferocious. Their sharp claws could shatter rocks. Some of the tigers were even stronger than Su Haoran. Is the mountain god angry? I don't want to die. Some little girls were scared out of their wits. Even Su Zimen, who was at the 3rd or 4th rank of body refinement stage, could not bear it. Bang! Ah! Outside the defensive line, a strong middle-aged man rushed over with a delicate girl around 15 or 16 years old. However, he was bitten in the leg by a wolf. The middle-aged man screamed continuously. Father! The little girl used her short sword to stab at the powerful wolf. Her speed was very fast, and when the wolf was unprepared, she stabbed the wolf's leg. The wolf was in pain and wanted to give up on the big man, but the big man crazily grabbed the wolf's head and let the wolf bite his shoulder. You run into the crowd. The big man was in despair. At this moment, other people could not even protect themselves. How could they save them? I don't want to. The little girl was stubborn. She pulled out the short sword and stabbed the wolf's neck. However, she did not realize that more wolves had appeared behind her. Poochie! Ouch! The short sword stabbed into the wolf's neck. It could not help but howl in pain. Dozens of wolves rushed over. One big and one small, it looked like they were about to be devoured. Many people saw it, but no one came to help. It was not that they did not want to, but that they could not help. There were too many wolves. Anyone who was surrounded would die. Roar! At least 20 wolves instantly pounced on the man and the little girl. The distance between them was less than 10 meters. The man was desperate. He hugged the little girl and rolled to protect her, hoping to save her life. Whoosh! A black shadow that did not fit in with the white world turned into a black bolt of lightning and shot out from the void. It punched a wolf that was pouncing towards the big man. Boom! The wild wolf, which was as strong as a water buffalo, was sent flying dozens of meters away. It didn't even have time to scream before it died. Moan! The sound of a saber whistling resounded through the forest. The saber chi cut through the mountain rocks and withered trees as it rushed directly into the wolf pack. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! Ow ow ow! The saber cut through the air, but it was silent. The smell of blood filled the mountain, alarming countless people. The man had thought that he was going to die for sure. But, he hadn't expected that he wouldn't be bitten even after a long time had passed. He couldn't help but look back, and saw a handsome young man walking with a saber in his hand. A fat parrot was standing on his shoulder. His vigorous back was unbreakable. There were corpses around him, but none of them were injured. Hiss! The big man sucked in a breath of cold air. Ignoring the injuries on his calf and shoulder, he hurriedly stood up with the help of the little girl. Roar! An angry roar resounded through the forest. Snow collapsed from the top of the mountain, drowning the corpses. A giant tiger the size of an elephant appeared, rampaging through the forest. Everywhere it went, the beasts were sent flying. But its target was obviously not the beasts, but the cultivators with vigorous blood chi. Bang! The giant tiger sent Wang Sun, who was at the 8th rank of the body refinement realm, flying with its 4 limbs. Its body shot out like an arrow, and it opened its mouth and swallowed Wang Sun alive. An 8th rank body refinement realm cultivator died just like that. Yi Kuang and Su Haoran trembled, their eyes filled with despair. The heavens want my Wanshan town to die. Su Haoran cried out in grief. This giant tiger was not something that a body refinement realm cultivator could fight against. If he died, how could the Su family and the people of Wanshan town survive? The giant tiger swallowed Wang Sun in one gulp and smacked its lips. Obviously, it was not satisfied. Its gaze was fixed on Yi Kuang, who was closest to it. It bent its body, ready to explode. Yi Kuang was in despair. His speed was not as good as the giant tiger, and his strength was not as good. He could only wait for death. Whoosh, a figure flashed and appeared in front of the people of Wanshan town. His back was facing the crowd, his beautiful hair fluttering in the wind. His strong and vigorous body gave people the hope of survival. No one recognized him as Yi Qinghan, but they recognized the parrot on Yi Qinghan's shoulder. "Stupid tiger, why are you still not retreating after seeing your master? Do you want this divine bird to flip out?" The parrot was bluffing and angrily rebuked. "Qinghan." Yi Quan's body stiffened. Looking at the back of the person who came, he was shocked and asked tentatively. "Yes, take them and retreat 50 meters. Yi Qinghan said coldly. "Roar." The giant tiger roared and retreated instead of advancing. It felt the threat of death and stared into Yi Qinghan's eyes. It was enveloped by the invisible aura of a superior being. It felt as if Yi Qinghan's saber was placed on its neck. If it moved slightly, the heavy berserk saber would stab into its heart. Su Haoran and Yi Quang's breathing stagnated. They were intimidated by Yi Qinghan's invisible aura. Their hearts trembled. Seeing that the giant tiger did not dare to move recklessly, they hurriedly rushed up the hill. Who is he? To be able to intimidate such a tyrannical giant tiger, is he an expert in the blood ignition realm? He looks so young. At most, he should be around my age. The people of Wanshan town discussed animatedly. They had just walked to the gates of hell, but they were blocked by this figure. Their hearts were filled with gratitude and reverence. "Father, who is this little brother?" The girl who had just been saved by Yi Qinghan looked at the injured man, her eyes filled with emotions. "Father doesn't know. If we can live later, we have to thank him properly." The man covered his wound and rubbed some medicinal herbs to stop the bleeding. "Yes. I'll be his slave to repay him for saving my life." The little girl nodded seriously. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Only a few youngsters seemed to recognize Yi Qinghan's back. No, they didn't recognize Yi Qinghan's back. They recognized that coquettish parrot. That despicable look was hard to forget. He is Yi Qinghan. This is impossible. A few days ago, he was still trash. How can he be so strong now? Yi Tsonghu's eyes were filled with shock and panic. He was at a loss. Ah! He's that trash. Su Ziming screamed as if she had seen a ghost. Scram! Trash! Pa! Su Haoran was furious. He ruthlessly slapped Su Ziming, sending her flying more than 10 meters away. She rolled down the hill. At this moment, everyone understood that the person who had saved their town was none other than the most useless trash in the town, Yi Qinghan. Many people's eyes were filled with guilt. Back then, no one had not bullied Yi Qinghan and the Ling family. Now that he had repaid evil with good, how could they repay his kindness? Within a 1-mile radius, even the beasts were intimidated by Yi Qinghan's aura. The frenzied beast horde became abnormally quiet. The cruel wolves bared their fangs and growled. They looked very violent, but in reality, they were constantly retreating. The beasts circled in the sky, but no longer attacked the crowd. They all stared at Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan looked calm, but in his heart, he was constantly thinking about how to deal with this situation. He couldn't maintain this force for long. After all, he was no longer a martial honorable. I can't use the extreme divine dragon steps or the berserk blade technique. Otherwise, I won't have a chance to escape when my strength is exhausted. Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. It was absolutely impossible for him to die for the thousands of people in Wanshan town. He didn't think that he was a living Buddha. Humans lived for themselves, not to mention that he was carrying a blood feud. The giant tiger roared. Its fangs were like a human's arm. It wouldn't have a problem breaking a level 1 spiritual chi. Its thick limbs were like buckets. A slight movement could shake the mountain rocks. Can I communicate with it? Yi Qinghan held his blade tightly and stared at the giant tiger. The light in his eyes was captivating. This divine bird can only communicate with high-level creatures. I don't understand what this low-level giant tiger says, the parrot said arrogantly. It seems that I can only use the beast roar that I haven't used for a long time, Yi Qinghan muttered. Roar. The giant tiger roared. Its attack became stronger. The snow was getting heavier. These beasts needed flesh and blood to replenish their energy. Roar. Yi Qinghan's aura soared, and his long hair danced wildly in the wind. A low roar resounded for 10 miles as he flew away with the wind. Plop, this low roar caused the nearby beasts to kneel down. Their eyes were filled with fear. It was as if they had heard the command of a high-level bloodline beast. The giant tiger trembled. It looked at Yi Qinghan as if it was looking at a dragon. Its hair stood on end like steel needles. Roar, the giant tiger roared. It seemed to be communicating with Yi Qinghan. Everyone in Wanshan town looked at each other in disbelief. Yi Qinghan had become unfathomable. His cultivation base was ridiculously low. Yet, he could still communicate with these beasts. At the same time, the beasts surrounding the hillside all retreated. They retreated a mile away. The giant tiger's emotions were sometimes violent and sometimes vigilant. It was frightening. The parrot could not stand Yi Qinghan's aura. It flew into the crowd and stood on the shoulder of the little girl that Yi Qinghan had saved. Hee, some of you are going to be unlucky. Master wants to use some of your lives in exchange for most of yours. Hurry up and choose 300 people for the tiger to eat. The parrot looked at the pale faces of the crowd and laughed evilly. Ah! Yi Kuang was shocked. 300 people. This meant that 30% of the young adults in Wanshan town would die in the tiger's mouth. Su Haren's face changed. He saw that Yi Qinghan was communicating with the giant tiger. He believed the parrot's words without a doubt. Master said to only choose from the 3 big families. Hurry up and choose. Otherwise, if Master runs away, you will all die. The parrot leaned on the little girl's shoulder and threatened. Su Haren looked back at his family. 90% of them were trembling. Some of the younger generation who had bullied Yi Qinghan's family were so scared that they peed their pants. Su Ziming hurriedly climbed up the hillside. When she heard this, she almost fainted. Chapter 21. What should we do? Do we really have to sacrifice the lives of our people? Su Haren looked at Yi Qinghan helplessly. He hoped that Yi Qinghan would be stronger and defeat the tiger, but he didn't have the courage to talk to Yi Qinghan. What can we do? Do as I say. It's time to clean up some people. Those who bullied Qinghan's family, come out now. This is your chance to atone for your sins. Even if you die, die for the sake of Wanshan town. Our people will be grateful to you. Otherwise, if the tiger is angry, we will all die here. Ah! Dad, Uncle, I don't want to die. Su Ziming wailed, kneeling on the ground and kowtowing. I apologize to Big Brother Yi. I kneel down and apologize to him. I'll be his cow, horse, slave. Yi Tsonghu and the others were pale. If they were to be sacrificed, they would be the first ones to bear the brunt. Who told them to bully Yi Qinghan for fun? The Wang family has 200 people. Give up the Wang family. Each of our families will give up 50 people. Su Haren sneered. Bullshit. Why should the entire Wang clan die? At most, we will die together. Wang Laosi said angrily. Because my fists are bigger. If you agree, I can take care of the women and children of the Wang family when I get out alive. If not, I will wipe out the entire Wang family when I get back. Su Haren threatened. Looking at the 3 families fighting each other, the parrot laughed evilly, my proud smile, boom. Roar, just as the three great clans were choosing who to give up, Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and he began fighting with the giant tiger. His saber danced wildly, and the snowflakes were cut apart. The snow on the ground rushed up and enveloped the giant tiger and Yi Qinghan. 12 styles of leaving hand. Spinning slash. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Roar roar roar, every roar shook the hearts of the people. The tiger retreated step by step, blood staining the snow. Its fangs broke, but it couldn't break the heavy saber. With 50,000 gene of strength, it couldn't block Yi Qinghan's attack. Retreat. Or die. Yi Qinghan's footsteps were as ethereal as a flying immortal's. He violently left his hands and poured out his true qi, but it was an extremely incisive attack. Roar, the giant tiger roared and swung its mountain-like paw towards Yi Qinghan. Its imposing manner was like a rainbow, as if it had the power to shatter the heavens and split the earth. This kind of power was not something that a refinement realm human could contend against. Yi Qinghan brandished his heavy berserk saber and collided head-on. The shockwaves from the collision between the two of them exceeded 100,000 gene in strength. The shockwaves spread out in all directions and caused a huge amount of snow to cover the sky, blocking everyone's vision. This was a battle that involved those at the Blood Ignition realm. The low-level ferocious beasts didn't dare to participate and retreated. Bam! Roar, the giant palm and the heavy saber collided violently. The defense of the giant tiger palm was broken by the saber chi, and blood splattered everywhere. The sky seemed to be raining blood snow, and the residual red color was mournful. The giant tiger lost control of its body, and it rolled for more than 10 rounds before stopping. Yi Qinghan retreated more than 30 meters, crushing the ground with each step until he reached the foot of the mountain where everyone was hiding. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, subdued by Yi Qinghan's imposing manner. Is he really Yi Qinghan? How many days has it been? From a trash to an existence that could contend against a giant tiger at the Blood Ignition realm. Many people were in disbelief. Yi Kuang knew that Yi Qinghan had changed, but he didn't expect it to be like this. Humph. A muffled snort struck everyone's hearts like a clap of thunder, causing their faces to darken. They saw Yi Qinghan stomping on the ground, crushing it as he madly charged towards the giant tiger. Roar. The tiger roared in the forest, and the snow roared, wanting to drown out the entire world. The snow on the ground rushed upwards, blocking Yi Qinghan's vision and also causing everyone to lose sight of him. Everyone held their breaths, praying that Yi Qinghan would win. Once he lost, everyone would be food for the tiger. The ferocious tiger met the ferocious beast in human form, Yi Qinghan, and the two of them fought in a frenzy. Saber chi swept through the area, destroying everything in its path. The tiger seemed huge, but its speed was incredibly fast. It was a battle of strength and willpower. The soldiers on the battlefield all died because they retreated. One man and one tiger, whoever retreated would lose, whoever fled would die. Whoosh, bang. The heavy berserk saber broke away from Yi Qinghan's right hand and stabbed into an ancient tree, causing everyone to feel despair. Is Yi Qinghan going to lose? No. Yi Qinghan, you can't lose. Everyone's eyes narrowed as they stared at Yi Qinghan, who was forced back a few meters, afraid that they would miss a moment. The parrot shrank its head and crept closer, disappearing into the white snow. Yi Qinghan's iron fist punched out, and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. He didn't expect this giant tiger to be so powerful, and its speed was comparable to his. Looks like if I don't show you some real martial arts skills, you'll think I'm useless. Yi Qinghan shrugged, and his aura burst out. His right fist emitted a faint golden halo that kept spreading outwards. Roar! The giant tiger turned the tables and was ready to take advantage of the situation, directly pouncing on the thin and weak Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan wasn't thin and weak. He was one. 8 meters tall and weighed 70 kilograms, but compared to the elephant-sized giant tiger, he was just a tiny dot. At this moment, however, he had an aura that could shatter heaven and earth. Heavenly Dragon Fist. Roar! Roar! Wherever Yi Qinghan's fist passed, the white snow melted away. His fist actually produced the roar of a dragon and a tiger, and a faint shadow of a dragon appeared behind him, wanting to devour everything. The dragon-shaped shadow quickly dissipated, and many people rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were hallucinating. The giant tiger had just rushed forward when it saw the shadow of a dragon rushing out from behind Yi Qinghan. It was so scared that its legs trembled, and it immediately knelt down. Bang! 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 Yi Qinghan's fists fell like raindrops, each punch penetrating the giant tiger's flesh and hitting the giant tiger's head. Even at such speed, the strength of each punch was more than 10,000 kilograms. The giant tiger immediately screamed, and opened its mouth wide, wanting to devour the tiny dot in front of it. Yi Qinghan's body flashed, and from the giant tiger's abdomen, he directly rushed onto its back, grabbed the hair on its neck, and hit the giant tiger with all his might. The giant tiger let out a blood-curdling screech and continued to roll around, trying to shake Yi Qinghan off. However, Yi Qinghan was like a sticky candy that stuck to the giant tiger's back and locked onto its neck. No matter how hard the giant tiger tried to shake him off, it was useless. Do you admit defeat? Bang! 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 Yi Qinghan roared, and without waiting for the giant tiger to submit, his iron fists continuously hit its head, making it dizzy and its limbs unsteady. Go, Yi Qinghan! Yi Qinghan! Yi Qinghan! The citizens of Myriad Mountain Town crazily roared. They were not from the three great families, so as long as Yi Qinghan won, they would be able to live. At this moment, Yi Qinghan had become their life-saving straw. Yi Qinghan's iron fists tightened, and he secretly prayed that Yi Qinghan could completely suppress the giant tiger. Su Haren's eyes were filled with excitement, anxiety, and worry. In the end, Yi Qinghan was a member of the Yi family, not a member of the Su family. The giant tiger continued to roll, pressuring Yi Qinghan to the point where it was short of breath. The speed and strength of his iron fists did not decrease, specifically hitting the soft spots on its head and neck. The giant tiger broke one ancient tree after another, and Yi Qinghan's mouth leaked out a trace of blood. His body felt like it was falling apart, but his strength did not decrease. Instead, it increased, as if he was about to break into the 9th body refinement layer. Yi Qinghan was somewhat happy. The giant tiger's tempering of its body actually had benefits. Come! Yi Qinghan stomped his foot on the ground and steadied himself. Then, he lifted the huge tiger up. The giant tiger, which weighed at least 5,000 pounds, was lifted up by Yi Qinghan. This made Su Haren suck in a breath of cold air. Using 5,000 pounds of strength was easy, but to lift 5,000 pounds of weight, how much strength was needed? 30,000 pounds? Or 50,000 pounds? The strength to pick up mountains, the spirit to conquer the world. The only person in the 8th body refinement layer who could do such a crazy thing was Yi Qinghan. Ah! Yi Qinghan angrily roared, and directly threw the giant tiger 10 meters away. His body shot out like an arrow, and rushed towards the giant tiger that was thrown away. Bang bang bang. Roar! The giant tiger was beaten silly by the rain of fists, and it continued to roar in pain. 9 heavens sinking heaven and earth. Yi Qinghan stomped the ground, and his body flew into the sky. His 10 fingers clasped together, and his arms fiercely slammed into the giant tiger's back. Boom! The giant tiger's body was like a kite with a broken string, and it fell from the sky. The snow rushed in all directions, and its body crashed into the ground. The snow covered the giant tiger and Yi Qinghan's figures, making everyone even more nervous. They stretched out their necks, wanting to see the situation in the center of the battlefield. Yeah. Master will win. The parrot, who had disappeared for a while, suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and waved its fat wings as it shouted. Do you submit or not? Yi Qinghan stepped on the giant tiger's head, and waved his steel-like fist as he shouted. Roar! The giant tiger's forelimbs half knelt, and it didn't dare to provoke anymore. Everyone was stunned. A giant tiger in the blood ignition realm actually submitted just like that. It submitted to a child in the 8th body refinement layer. It was simply inconceivable. Yi Qinghan finally let out a breath of turbid air. He moved his body, and the bones in his body creaked. His bloody clothes made people shiver. The parrot flew back to the crowd, and looked at Yi Kuang and Su Haoran with a strange expression. It asked in a strange tone, have you chosen the sacrifice? The giant tiger wants to eat people. Putong, Su Zimeng and the others directly knelt down, kowtowing and begging, Brother Qinghan, we were ignorant before. Please forgive us this time, we won't dare to do it again. Qinghan, it's my fault. Please don't let the giant tiger eat me. Yi Tsonghu and the others cried bitterly. They had seen Wang Sun being swallowed in a single bite, and he didn't even have a chance to resist. Peng peng peng, dozens of people knelt down together, kowtowing and admitting their mistakes. This was the first time Yi Qinghan had received such treatment. After a long time, he brought the giant tiger to the top of the mountain. He couldn't help but be curious when he saw everyone crying bitterly with faces full of remorse. What are you all doing? Yi Qinghan frowned and asked. Didn't you want to sacrifice to the giant tiger? Qinghan, can we change the sacrifice? Use our own clansmen. Yi Kuang's expression was ugly. He didn't feel good about sending his clansmen to the giant tiger. When did I say sacrifice? Yi Qinghan suddenly understood why the people of the 3 great clans were so scared. Suddenly, the people of the 3 great clans looked at the parrot standing on the shoulder of the little girl. Their faces were full of anger, especially those who had been chosen. They couldn't wait to swallow this lowly parrot alive. Too immoral. The fake imperial edict was one thing, but to scare people like this, many people fainted from fright, and some even wet their pants on the spot. The parrot grinned sheepishly and said to Yi Qinghan in a flattering manner, it's nothing, it's nothing. I was just joking and teasing them a bit. I also helped you teach them a lesson. Chapter 22. The parrot grinned sheepishly and said to Yi Qinghan in a flattering manner, it's nothing, it's nothing. I was just joking and teasing them a bit. I also helped you teach them a lesson. Everyone in Wanshan town. Fuck. How could you joke like that? It would scare people to death. Yi Qinghan. This parrot had no moral integrity and was very immoral. It must have offended the 3 great clans of Wanshan town by scaring people like that. Send them back and meet me here in half an hour. Don't mess around, or I'll turn you into a crow. Yi Qinghan pretended to be angry and scolded. However, he was laughing coldly in his heart. It would be good to teach these people a lesson. At least, he could give Yi Qinghan an explanation. Qinghan, the snow is about to completely seal off the mountain. If you don't leave now, it will be too late. Come with us. Yi Kuang said worriedly. That's right, Mr. Yi. Let's go out together so that this Bai and my daughter can properly repay you for saving our lives. The father and daughter that Yi Qinghan had rescued from the pack of wolves respectfully stepped forward and said. No need, everyone should work together now. Those who are not injured, help take care of the injured. Let's leave together with the parrot. I still have things to do. Yi Qinghan shook his head and rejected their suggestion. Yi Kuang understood Yi Qinghan very well. His will was not to be refuted, so he led everyone away from the mountain. A large group of townspeople followed the parrot and left at a faster and faster speed. The injured people could only grit their teeth and follow. At this time, falling behind would only lead to death. Hurry! This divine bird's time is very precious. How can I waste it on trash like you? The parrot looked at the people who were moving at a tortoise speed, and scolded with dissatisfaction. Su Haoran and the others could only grit their teeth and endure. After all, only the parrot could lead them out of Wanshan town. Along the way, the parrot did not say anything nice. It scolded them and taught them a lesson. Everyone was so angry that they rolled their eyes. The ordinary hunters of Wanshan town grinned and laughed secretly. What bullshit, 3 great clans. Fortunately, Master is kind. If it were me, I would bury you all alive in this broken valley. The parrot bluntly insulted. Su Haoran's face turned pale and purple, his body trembling. Yi Kuang could only shake his head with a bitter smile. As for the Wang clan, with Wang Sun dead, they had no right to speak. Lord Divine Bird, my father is dying. Please save him. The little girl begged. What did you just say? The parrot asked, its aura rising. My father is dying, please save him. The little girl said respectfully. No, what did you say before that? The parrot asked in a serious manner. Lord Divine Bird. The little girl was confused. She didn't know why the parrot was asking this. The parrot got excited and shouted, that's right. That's it. Did you hear that? From now on, call me Lord Divine Bird. Everyone, you there, said the parrot, pointing at Su Haoran. Give him a medicinal pill to heal his injuries, then carry him on your back. You! Su Haoran roared angrily. This parrot was infuriating him to death. What? You're not convinced? You want to hit me? The parrot stared at the little girl and asked disdainfully. Huff huff huff, Su Haoran took a deep breath and said to himself, I won't lower myself to the parrot's level. I can't offend Yi Qinghan either. I'll just bear with it and avoid it the next time I see it. Su Haoran compromised. He took out a medicinal pill and put it in Bai Xian's mouth. Then he carried him on his back and rushed outside. The little girl looked at the parrot gratefully and said seriously, Thank you, Lord Divine Bird. My name is Bai Xuer. When you return to town, I'll definitely repay you. The parrot looked at Bai Xuer seriously. She was a beauty. Although she was wearing a hemp garment, it couldn't hide her aura. She was only 14 or 15 years old, but she had developed well. She had all the right places and no extra fat. Her skin was as white as snow and could be broken with a flick of a finger. Yes, not bad. You can be a child bride for my master and give birth to a child. Said the parrot seriously. Lord Divine Bird, you're so annoying. Bai Xuer blushed and quickened her pace, rushing forward. Everyone was speechless. This wicked parrot wasn't just wicked. At this time, it was still helping its master pick up girls. It made people want to kill it and stew it. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the hill, letting the snow roar. He used the spiritual energy in the mountain to heal his injured body and consolidate his realm. He had benefited a lot from the battle with the giant tiger and his strength had increased a lot. The giant tiger had surrendered and loyally guarded Yi Qinghan. It could even use its body to block the snow so that Yi Qinghan wouldn't be surrounded by snow and wind. The beasts retreated and entered the depths of the mountain to kill each other. The weak ones hurriedly hid in their caves, not daring to come out again. Otherwise, even if they survived, they wouldn't be able to find their nest. Half an hour later, the parrot rushed back to its original place, not affected by the snow at all. Master, let's go to that cave. There are at least 50 kilograms of stalactite essence inside. This is good stuff. It's the best treasure for humans to break through to the blood ignition realm. Said the parrot as if it was presenting a treasure. And, let's go. Yi Qinghan flipped over and jumped onto the giant tiger's back. The giant tiger didn't resist at all and followed the parrot into the depths of the mountain. The giant tiger's speed was extremely fast. It collapsed the snow and covered several hundred meters with a leap. After the time it took to burn a stick of incense, they were 50 li deep into the 100,000 mountains. The parrot flew into the sky and searched for a while before heading straight for a spacious valley. "Master, it's here." The parrot was very certain as it rushed towards a hillside and used all its strength to dig at the snow. In the end, it felt that it wasn't enough and spat out a mouthful of fire, burning a large amount of snow. Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank slightly. Only now did he know that the parrot could spit fire. This was simply a godly skill. What kind of monster is this? Its intelligence is higher than humans and its innate talent is extraordinary. This is the first time I've seen something like this. Yi Qinghan whispered. The giant tiger let out a muffled roar. The surrounding snow collapsed and surged into the valley. The side of the hillside that the parrot chose revealed a large area of withered trees. Behind the withered trees was a cave with a diameter of 2 meters. It was very well hidden and under normal circumstances, no one would be able to discover it. "Wait for me here. It'll be good for you." Yi Qinghan patted the giant tiger's head and lightly said. Then, he jumped from the center of the tree and rushed into the cave. The cave wasn't big. Light couldn't enter it and it was very dark. Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up as he saw a narrow crack on one side of the cave. It could only accommodate one adult at most. A faint trace of spirit energy floated out from the depths of the cave. Yi Qinghan wouldn't have discovered it if he hadn't known that there was stone milk here. It's really the devouring spirit parrot. It's so pervasive. You can even find such a secret place. Yi Qinghan looked at the proud parrot and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. That's right. It's useless to hide the treasures in this world. I can even pull off a layer of fur from a cheapskate as long as my divine bird passes by, the parrot said proudly. Let's go in quickly. It's actually not dark inside. On the contrary, there are some pearls that are emitting light. They're all ownerless. Let's take them all. The parrot took the lead and rushed into the crack. Yi Qinghan followed in, holding the saber in his hand tightly. In this strange new environment, safety was the most important thing. After about 20 meters, the crack gradually widened. The light became brighter and the spirit energy became more abundant. Even if Yi Qinghan didn't take the initiative to absorb the spirit energy, he could feel his pores expand and desperately absorb the spirit energy. After another 5 meters, Yi Qinghan saw a cave that was at least the size of 3 houses appear in front of him. Drip, 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 drops of viscous white liquid seeped out from the stones and dripped into a huge water trough below. It was completely irregular and definitely not dug out by human hands. Dripping water could penetrate stone. Stone milk gathered together and didn't disperse. It was full of spirit energy and filled the entire cave. However, only a small amount of spirit energy seeped out. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. There was at least a few 100 pounds of stone milk essence here. It could support at least 10 people to break through to the blood ignition realm. This kind of stone milk essence was only useful for the body refinement realm and the blood ignition realm. After entering the bitter sea realm, it was completely useless. It should be worth a lot of silver, right? Master, how about we split it 30-70? The parrot asked flatteringly. Yes, the value of stone milk essence is 10 taels of gold in the outside world. There is a price but no market. The stone milk here is worth more than 20 million taels of silver. However, once a large amount of stone milk appears, it will become worthless. Therefore, it is impossible to sell it all at once. Do you want stone milk or silver? Who will take 30 and who will take 70? Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and explained. This guy was still so greedy. He didn't know what it needed silver for. Of course the great master will take 70%. 30% is enough for me. As for my portion of stone milk, I will sell half and keep the other half for myself. The parrot didn't forget to show its sincerity and said solemnly. Okay. Yi Qinghan did not hesitate. This parrot was not simple and he couldn't disappoint it too much. The parrot's face was filled with joy. It waved its sharp claws and continuously dug at the sparkling stones on the wall. It wanted nothing more than to move the entire cave. You don't have to be so ruthless. Apart from the stone milk, don't touch anything else. This is a treasure that nature has bestowed upon humans. Don't destroy it. Yi Qinghan took out his Qiankuan pouch and began to fill it with stone milk. However, he discovered that this huge water trough was at least 1 meter deep. The stone milk essence here exceeded 250 kilograms. This stone milk could at least nurture 50 blood ignition realm cultivators out of thin air. From mortals to blood ignition realm cultivators, 50 of them would be a very large force even in Jiangning County. Yi Qinghan used his divine sense to control the Qiankuan pouch and continuously absorbed the stone milk essence. Soon, the 250 kilograms of stone milk was completely absorbed. Yi Qinghan did not take away all of it. These resources were regenerated. Some of the primers were placed here and continued to emit spiritual energy. The stone milk would quickly fill up the water trough. Yi Qinghan saw that there was only a thin layer of stone milk left. The spirit qi inside the cave had weakened a lot. Yi Qinghan withdrew his hand and brought the parrot out of the cave. The tiger was still guarding the cave loyally. 10 days. I will definitely break through to the blood ignition realm. Yi Qinghan was extremely confident. He didn't stay in the valley for long and immediately rushed back the way he came. The situation in Wanshan town was very dangerous and a crisis could erupt at any time. Yi Qinghan couldn't believe in old man Sun's strength. Chapter 23. Snow danced in the air, drowning the 100,000 mountains and Wanshan town. It finally stopped after an entire night. However, Wanshan town's disappearance gave Wanshan town some hope of survival. In Jiangning County, when Situ Yunxiao learned that his mission had failed, he couldn't help but fly into a rage out of humiliation. He decided to get rid of old man Sun as well, so he directly sent 3 mid-stage blood ignition realm experts over. However, they were lost in the boundless snow and wandered further and further. Everyone in Wanshan town had just escaped death. Their hearts throbbed inexplicably. Other than the people from the 3 great clans, everyone else was waiting for Yi Qinghan's return. Yi Qinghan is back. The next morning, someone shouted and alarmed Wanshan town. All the hunters from yesterday came out of their houses and opened up a path to welcome him outside the town. Greetings, Mr. Yi. Thank you for saving our lives, Mr. Yi. Everyone bowed to express their gratitude. They even ignored the giant tiger that Yi Qinghan was riding on. Shui is here to welcome Mr. Yi back on behalf of my father. My father asked me to be your maid to repay you for saving his life. Bai Shui was dressed in hemp clothes and a pair of black spectacles. Her tall and perfect figure was perfect. She came to Yi Qinghan and said respectfully. It's nothing. I don't need you to repay me or thank me. It's cold outside. Go home, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Mr. Yi, let's treat you to a meal when you're free. Otherwise, we won't be able to eat or sleep in peace, a middle-aged man said respectfully. All right, I'll treat everyone in the town to a meal in half a month. I've been busy these days and can't leave. Please forgive me, Yi Qinghan cupped his fists and replied. Since Mr. Yi is busy, we won't disturb you. We'll talk about it in half a month. Everyone, please leave, the man said to the people. Everyone felt sorry and could only leave. However, Bai Shui stood in front of the giant tiger and stared at Yi Qinghan. Mr. Yi, I want to be your maid and take care of your daily life, Bai Shuer said seriously. Yi Qinghan looked at the simple Bai Shuer and said gently with a smile, I know you are filial and want to repay me. But now your father is seriously injured. It's better for you to go home and take care of him. I'm just a warrior. I don't need anyone to take care of me. Go home. My father said that we should repay the kindness of others. My mother is at home, so he asked me to repay you. Please let me stay, or my father will be unhappy. Bai Shuer pursed her lips and begged seriously. Yi Qinghan looked at her young eyes and knew that what she said was true. But he still didn't want a stranger to suddenly appear beside him, even if he needed such a girl to take care of his family's food and shelter. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, how about this? Come find me when your father's injuries have healed. Otherwise, I won't accept your reward. Really? Bai Shuer's eyes lit up and asked excitedly. But I need to take a test. If you don't pass, I won't take you as my maid. Yi Qinghan said calmly, leaving himself a way out. Don't worry, Mr. Yi. I'll make sure you're satisfied. Bai Shuer said excitedly and ran away. Yi Qinghan shook his head. He already had two important people to protect. It was impossible for him to have a third one. If he let Bai Shuer follow him, it would not help her, but hurt her. Master, this chick is not bad. She's good at giving birth to babies. She's also pretty. Just take her. The parrot smiled evilly. Shut up. Don't make trouble for me in the future. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer. Yi Qinghan scolded unhappily. The parrot lowered its head and didn't dare to talk back. Giant tiger, let's go. Yi Qinghan rode the giant tiger to Spirit Treasure's pavilion. Old man Sun sat lazily on a chair with his legs crossed. Suddenly, his vision turned black. A giant tiger blocked the door. Its violent aura made his heart stop. Damn! What the hell is this? Old man Sun shouted. A 3-feet-long sword appeared in his hand. He rushed out of the door and looked up. He gasped. Qinghan, this is what you tamed? Old man Sun asked in shock. A giant tiger in the blood ignition realm. It was not an ordinary creature. In Jiangning County, it would be an overlord. Yes. Find a place for it to live. Yi Qinghan faintly smiled and took out a clean, empty wine jar. He released a total of 5 kilograms of stalactite essence and handed it to Old Man Sun. Use half of it for yourself and properly cultivate the scarlet fire palm. Sell the remaining half and use it as startup capital. We need to speed up the purchase of the purple light fruit and other medicines, as well as the rejuvenating pill. Old Man Sun was so shocked that his limbs stiffened when he saw the jar of thick and viscous stalactite essence. He looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief and could only shake his head. For a monster like Yi Qinghan, what could he not do? Okay. I'll find someone to build a nest for it. Its body is too big. Spirit Treasure's pavilion can't fit it. Old Man Sun carefully put away the stalactite essence and said in a serious voice. Yi Qinghan did not say anything else. He stepped into the backyard and gave Yi Mingxi 5 kilograms of stalactite essence. After giving some instructions, he went into seclusion. 3 great clans, no, 2 great clans. Without Wang Sun, how could the Wang clan compare to the Yi and Su clans? Yi Kuang and Su Haran personally came to pay their respects to Yi Qinghan but were stopped by Yi Mingxi in the front yard. Big Brother said that he won't see any guests during this period of seclusion. You can all go back. Yi Mingxi looked at the 2 elders without any trace of fear in her eyes. Her body was covered with boundless qi, like a peerless expert. Su Haran and Yi Kuang were stunned. How old was Yi Mingxi? 7th layer of body refinement. No, this was clearly not body refinement, but the higher 7th layer of qi refinement. Seventh layer of qi refinement at the age of 5. Su Haran sucked in a breath of cold air. His body trembled and he took 3 steps back as if he had seen a ghost. This is impossible. Yi Kuang's eyes were also filled with disbelief. When Yi Mingxi left the Yi clan, she was clearly an ordinary person without any cultivation. How could she reach the 7th layer of qi refinement in just a few days? Nothing is impossible. It all depends on human effort. Yi Mingxi looked somewhat mature. Perhaps it was because the children of poor families were already in charge and had their own thoughts. The words she said made old man Sun roll his eyes. Big Brother also said that if anyone from Wanshan town dares to go to Jiangning County and spread rumors, when he comes out of seclusion, he will not be lenient. This includes the Yi clan. I hope that you can control your own people and intimidate the Wang clan. Yi Mingxi left behind a rather threatening sentence and retreated to the backyard, leaving old man Sun and the others looking at each other. Su Haran and Yi Kuang couldn't help but smile bitterly. Since Yi Qinghan had given a warning, he would definitely carry it out. They prepared to return to their respective clans and strictly carry out Yi Qinghan's orders. Wait, go home and find 10 or so big men to help me build a big nest for this huge tiger. Then, get some pigs, horses, cows, sheep and other poultry to feed it. As for the silver, I will not give you any less. Old man Sun looked at the two and said in a low voice. Mr. Sun's words are too serious. To be able to serve you is the Yi clan's honor. We will do it now. Yi Qinghan returned to his room and began to swallow the stalactite essence to refine his body. Every muscle and bone in his body was refined to perfection. His body had reached perfection. In order to reach this stage, Yi Qinghan had wasted 2 full days and used more than 50 pounds of stalactite essence. Training like this was simply wasteful. None of the clans could provide for his consumption. Kikik, Yi Qinghan moved slightly and the bones in his body emitted a crisp sound. An unsuppressible aura burst out from his body, as if it wanted to soar into the sky. Yi Qinghan now gave people the feeling that he had an irresistible power. Every move he made tugged at people's hearts. His face was more mature and vigorous, and the vicissitudes of life in his eyes were more obvious. I can break through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Once I enter the blood ignition realm, I can recultivate all my martial skills. Cultivating again will definitely be different. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and took out a large amount of stalactite essence. He drank it crazily, and strength filled his limbs and bones. His spirit energy was abundant, and it turned into true energy that gathered in his qi sea. His true energy was so dense that it was almost impossible to contain it. Under Yi Qinghan's active guidance, it slowly began to liquefy. True energy was born. True energy meant the blood ignition realm. This was an unchanging truth. Yi Qinghan firmly believed this, but at this moment he was obviously trying to break through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm. It was impossible for him to be in the blood ignition realm, but true energy had appeared. Although Yi Qinghan was shocked, he did not panic. He was incomparably calm as he continued to compress his true energy, turning it into even more true energy. The true energy was ruthless, flowing through his body. Everywhere it passed, shackles were broken. All the shackles and bottlenecks were crushed, and he quickly rushed into the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Boom, the true energy was like a wild beast, sweeping through his entire qi sea. The majestic true energy turned into a torrential downpour, floating in his qi sea. The originally full qi sea instantly turned into a small lake. The same qi sea, but it could contain hundreds and thousands of times more power. The true energy's ability to refine the body had increased by another level. Gulu gulu. Yi Qinghan swallowed a large amount of stone milk essence. On one hand, it was used to accumulate true energy, and on the other hand, it was used to refine his body. Time passed little by little. Yi Qinghan's body had more than doubled in strength, and his battle strength had increased by hundreds of times. Facing a low-level first-grade beast, such as a giant tiger, he could definitely defeat it with one punch. If it was an early-stage Blood Ignition Realm expert, they would definitely not be his opponent. At this moment, Yi Qinghan finally had the confidence to protect himself. As long as it was not a bitter sea stage expert, he had the confidence to defeat a strong enemy. Yi Qinghan stood up, moving his body. His entire body emitted a crisp sound, as if he had been in seclusion for thousands of years. At this moment, Old Man Sun suddenly ran from the front yard to the backyard. He whispered a few words into Yi Qinghan's ear, causing Yi Qinghan's face to darken. Hire an assassin. Looks like Situ Yunxiao has received the news. The corners of Yi Qinghan's mouth rose slightly, coldly saying to himself. He hired people from the Blood Evil organization. The lowest level of cultivation is at the Blood Ignition realm, and they have never failed a mission. I think it's best if you hide. Old Man Sun's face was ugly as he warned in a low voice. Chapter 24. Old Man Sun's expression was grim as he warned in a low voice, the people he hired are from the Blood Fiend organization. Their cultivation is at least at the Blood Ignition realm, and they have never failed any of their missions. I think it's better for you to hide. Blood Fiend. They have never failed. Yi Qinghan's lips curled in disdain. If he escaped with Yi Mengxi and Madame Wang, wouldn't that be admitting defeat to Situ Yunxiao? How could he fight against Emperor Yi and the others in the future? That's right. Blood Fiend is the strongest assassin organization in the Kingdom of Green Sunday. They have already reached the peak of the second rank. Even the royal family retreats. We shouldn't offend them, Old Man Sun said sadly. Although Blood Fiend is inferior to Spirit Treasure's Pavilion, they won't care about a small shop owner here. Would they dare to kill their way into Spirit Treasure's Pavilion's branch? Yi Qinghan asked with a frown. Not to that extent. No organization in the Kingdom of Green Sun would dare to kill their way into Spirit Treasure's Pavilion. Old Man Sun was incomparably arrogant when Spirit Treasure's Pavilion was mentioned. That's enough. I'm only worried about Mengxi and my mother. As for Blood Ignition Realm assassins, they can't do anything to me. Yi Qinghan was even more arrogant. Old Man Sun was helpless. Knowing that he couldn't change Yi Qinghan's mind, he could only turn around and return to the front yard. Yi Qinghan practiced a set of Yi Clan's basic fist technique in the backyard and began to slowly cultivate the 5th rank Violent Blade technique and Ultimate Dragon steps. Even if he had True Yuan, he couldn't use the 5th rank Violent Blade technique or Ultimate Dragon steps for a long time. The True Yuan in his Qi Si was quickly depleted. He used the Stalactite essence to quickly recover his strength. With the Stalactite essence, his progress was extremely fast. The blade of his palm could cut through ordinary iron. The strength of a peak attack was enough to split an entire mountain. In the afternoon, a tyrannical aura appeared in Wanshan town, quickly alarming Yi Qinghan. He couldn't help but walk to the front yard with his saber. In the front yard, Yi Qinghan looked up and saw a vigorous middle-aged man walking on the snow. He had actually reached the realm of walking without leaving a trace. His Qinggong secret technique had been cultivated to the peak realm. It's the head deacon of Jiangning County of Lingbao Hall, Lord Qin Zheng. Old Man Sun's face was filled with excitement. His eyes were filled with awe and excitement, as if he was a child who had seen his idol. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows and looked at Qin Zheng. He could feel that his body was like a volcano. It looked calm, but once it erupted, it would destroy everything. Even Yi Qinghan himself was no match for it. Qin Zheng silently walked into the Spirit Treasure's pavilion. He glanced at Yi Qinghan indifferently and did not look him in the eye. He directly said to Old Man Sun, Sun Fizi, you sent someone to Jiangning County a few days ago. Is the news true? Lord Qin, it's definitely true. Look at me, aren't I at the initial stage of the Blood Ignition realm? Old man Sun struck out with his palm. His iron palm was scarlet red like a burning soldering iron. The scorching temperature caused the surrounding temperature to rise by quite a bit. When Qin Jing saw the power of the crimson fire palm, his eyebrows twitched and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. However, he did not discover its true grade. That's right, it's the blood ignition realm. It seems that I have to transfer you to Jiangning County. It's a waste of your talent to leave you here. However, where is the person who refined the purple light wine that you mentioned? Tell him to come and see me, Qin Jing said indifferently. Old man Sun pursed his lips and pointed at Yi Qinghan. It's this talented young man. Lord Qin, this child's talent is extraordinary. You must not look down on him just because he is young. Old man Sun was afraid that Qin Jing would be blind and look down on Yi Qinghan, causing Yi Qinghan to be disgusted. Qin Jing had indeed misjudged. He thought that the wine refiner that old man Sun had mentioned was someone else. At the very least, the wine refiner was an old man who was addicted to wine. However, Yi Qinghan was just a weak scholar. He did not look like a martial artist at all. You are that wine refiner? Qin Jing looked at Yi Qinghan and asked in a serious tone. Yes, Yi Qinghan said in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing as he sat down. Qin Jing's expression changed slightly. Neither he nor Sun Fizi sat down. This little fellow looked like he was only in the body refinement realm, yet he was so arrogant. Qin Jing could not help but snort. His aura rose and suppressed Yi Qinghan. The atmosphere in the room was oppressive. Old man Sun's expression changed greatly. He did not dare to say anything. This was the might of a superior. Yi Qinghan calmly poured himself a cup of spiritual tea and added a bit of stalactite essence into it. He swirled it around, and a different spiritual tea aroma filled the room. He sniffed the tea lightly. Other than the movement of his clothes, he didn't feel any discomfort at all. Mr. Qin, please speak frankly. There is no need to pressure me with your strength. Yi Qinghan took a sip of the spirit tea. His body emitted a faint pressure that constantly resisted Qin Jing's aura. He had the demeanor of a great master. Qin Jing's pupils shrank. It was as if the young man in front of him was not in the body refinement realm, but an existence that surpassed the grotto heaven realm. Bang bang bang. Qin Jing and Sun Fizi's breathing was somewhat out of control, following Yi Qinghan's movements. Beads of sweat constantly dripped from their foreheads. Aura. Yi Qinghan controlled the aura of the spirit treasure hall. Drawing a circle around him, it was like a domain. In this place, he was a god, and no one could offend him. Zing zing zing. Qin Jing retreated several steps, his face pale. He breathed in large mouthfuls of fresh air. There was no longer the arrogance and disdain that he had when he first arrived. At this moment, the way he looked at Yi Qinghan had changed. He no longer treated him as a child, but as a peer or even a senior. Mr. Qin is hiding your strength. You have embarrassed me, Qin Jing said with a bitter smile. Mr. Qin is at the third star of the bitter sea stage. To have such achievements at such a young age, it is inevitable that you will be arrogant. But having such an attitude is not good for you. Take care of yourself. Now state your purpose for coming. Yi Qinghan impolitely reprimanded. Qin Jing's face twitched. This was the first time he had been reprimanded like this by someone who looked like a child. Although he knew that what Qin Jing said was right, but he could not help but feel somewhat displeased. Mr. Qin Jing is right. In the path of cultivation, the one who has reached the top is the teacher. I have learned. Qin Jing was able to let go of things easily. He did not continue to pester Qin Jing, and went straight to the point. A few days ago, Sun Fizi said that Mr. Qin Jing could refine the purple light wine. I have searched through all the information, but only found some records of the purple light wine in a book. I wonder if Mr. Qin Zheng could explain to me the specific effects of the purple light wine. The purple light wine is a top-class wine made from the purple light fruit and other materials. The materials are ordinary, but it can be regarded as a third-grade spirit wine. For those below the bitter C stage, it has an obvious supporting effect. Its effect is several times better than the blood ignition pill and the bitter C pill. For people like Mr. Sun who are about to reach the end of their lifespan, their qi and blood have dried up, and are unable to break through, they can use the purple light wine to break through. Its value cannot be measured, and its taste is sweet and refreshing. It is the best food for those who like wine. Yi Qinghan indifferently explained. So strong. Qin Zheng did not dare to believe it. If it were not for Yi Qinghan's aura intimidating him, he would definitely have questioned him even more directly. Did you bring the materials? I will refine a jar on the spot. You can set the price. I will not refine too much, but I am in a hurry to sell them. So I hope that the Spirit Treasure Pavilion can buy and sell them on my behalf. I will set the price for how much I will sell to you. You can set the price for how much you want to sell, Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. I brought the purple light fruit, smoked dragon fruit, stone milk essence, and wine grass. But the amount of stone milk essence is not large. Qin Zheng threw out a qiankuan bag, placing it in front of Yi Qinghan. I have the stone milk essence, I don't need you to provide it. Yi Qinghan opened the qiankuan bag. The materials were indeed complete. He took the qiankuan bag and stood up, saying indifferently, wait for me here. We will see the result in 6 hours. Yi Qinghan had made the purple light wine for countless years, so he was very familiar with the process. He worked alone in the backyard while Yi Mengshi cultivated beside him. The speed of his improvement was shocking. Is this person reliable? Qin Zheng looked at Sun Feizi and asked in a low voice. Very reliable. But he has some enemies now, so I'm afraid that you will need to take action. Sun Feizi's eyes lit up. He hoped that Qin Zheng could warn Situ Yunxiao and help Yi Qinghan temporarily survive this crisis. What is his background? What enemies does he have? Qin Zheng asked with a frown. He is a little fellow from the Yi clan in this small town. He has been humiliated for many years, but recently, he had an epiphany and became a person above others. However, his enemy is none other than Duke Situ Yunxiao. Sun Feizi quickly explained. It's him. Seventh brother Ye's son. Qin Zheng asked in surprise. Yes, that's right. I heard that Duke Situ has already sent people to the Blood Fiend realm to collect Yi Qinghan's head. It would be a pity for such a genius to die. In 6 hours, Lord Qin will definitely not be willing to let such a child die prematurely. Sun Feizi said confidently. Then we will see in 6 hours. If he is worthy of my help, then I will help him. If he is just a facade, then I will not meddle in other people's business. Qin Zheng replied without hesitation. Businessmen only cared about profits. There was no such thing as a friend. Time quickly passed. 6 hours later, Yi Qinghan walked out with a jar of spirit wine. He placed it on the table and placed 2 large bowls on the table. He personally poured 2 bowls and pushed them in front of the 2 of them. The purple light wine emitted a purple aura. It was as if the purple aura had come from the east. This was the true purple light wine. It was muddy but not turbid. The spiritual aura gathered but did not disperse. The purple aura was rich. Qin Zheng pretended to be relaxed. He raised the bowl and took a sip. Then, he drank wildly. After finishing the bowl of wine, he shouted, "Good wine. How much is it worth?" Yi Qinghan was not surprised. He gave the initiative to the other party. For those who understand wine, this bowl of wine is worth 1,000 taels of gold. For those who want to break through to the blood ignition realm or the bitter sea realm, it is a priceless treasure. Qin Zheng did not hesitate and directly gave a price. If I sell it to you, how much are you prepared to pay for a jar? Yi Qinghan looked up at Qin Zheng and asked directly. 10,000 taels of gold per jar. Qin Zheng quickly gave an answer. Okay, deal. Take this jar of purple light wine as a gift from me. Yi Qinghan was forthright and generous. He directly pushed the purple light wine that was worth 10,000 taels of gold to Qin Zheng. Ha ha ha, straightforward. I did not think that such a talent would appear in this generation of the Yi family. Seventh Yi can die in peace. Qin Zheng laughed loudly. At this moment, he looked at Yi Qinghan and was exceptionally happy. He quickly asked, how many jars of purple light wine can you provide us in a month? Chapter 25. How many jars of purple light wine can you provide us in a month? This was what Qin Zheng was most concerned about. Sales were not a problem, but what about production? 30 jars a month. I will provide you with 2 consecutive months. Yi Qinghan thought for a while and gave an answer. Qin Zheng frowned and asked directly, so little? Spirit Treasures Pavilion's business was all over Owl Falling Star. How could 30 jars a month be enough? Even 300 jars would not be enough, let alone 2 months. Wasn't this a joke? However, what Qin Zheng did not know was that to have a great revered martial artist help him refine purple light wine for 2 months, what kind of glory was that? However, they were too greedy. Yi Qinghan considered providing 2 months of purple light wine because of Situ Yunxiao. He was also worried that Situ Yunxiao would act out of desperation. Although he could protect himself, what about Yi Mengshi and Wang Shi? He had no way to protect them. Now that he was cooperating with Spirit Treasures Pavilion would protect him for as long as he provided purple light wine. This was the Spirit Treasures Pavilion that placed benefits above all else. Once they no longer cooperated, Spirit Treasures Pavilion would not care about Yi Qinghan's life or death. I am not a professional wine brewer. If you want more, go find a wine brewer. There is no need to cooperate with me. Yi Qinghan coldly replied. Qin Zheng did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so decisive and did not know how to reply. Rare things are valuable. If they were everywhere, who would buy them at a high price? Yi Qinghan coldly asked. All right, I hope you can provide a small amount in the future. Spirit Treasures Pavilion is willing to buy them at a high price. Qin Zheng was helpless. For someone as proud and arrogant as Yi Qinghan, he definitely couldn't use force. Moreover, in his subconscious, he knew that Yi Qinghan wasn't simple. If he used force today, he might not be able to get the upper hand. We will talk about it in the future. Yi Qinghan indifferently replied. The materials will be delivered continuously. If you don't mind, Mr. Yi, you can return to the Spirit Treasure Pavilion in Jiangning County with me. I guarantee that no one will hurt you and your family for the next 2 months, Qin Zheng said in a friendly manner. Yi Qinghan paused for a moment before nodding his head. This place was indeed not suitable for him to develop. Entering Jiangning County was a must, and using Qin Zheng to gain a foothold in Jiangning County was a good choice. We'll set off tomorrow. Today, I will first brew 10 jars of purple light wine for you. As for the 100,000 gold taels, I'll have to trouble Mr. Qin to give Mr. Sun 30,000 gold taels. The remaining 70,000 gold taels will be used to purchase 10,000 gold taels of blood ignition pills, True Elemental Dawn, and the remaining 2 restoration pills. Then, help me purchase 400 genes of purple gold cold iron, 15 genes of scarlet flame sand, 50 genes of soft red gold, and a 3rd-grade universe ring. Yi Qinghan listed out all the things he needed for the time being and handed them over to Qin Zheng. True Elemental Dawn and blood ignition pills were easy to purchase, but the purple gold cold iron, scarlet flame sand, and soft red gold were all high-grade materials that could only be used to forge weapons of 4th grade and above. Not only were they very expensive, they were also very rare. As for a 3rd grade universe ring, its internal space was about 100 meters, and it could store many things. The universe ring in Qin Zheng's hand was only a 2nd grade universe ring, and it was worth 8,000 gold taels. With so many things, 70,000 gold taels may not be enough. But it doesn't matter, our spirit treasure pavilion can pay for you first. Qin Zheng straightforwardly replied. Thank you very much. I will first brew the wine, you can do as you please. Yi Qinghan nodded his head. He did not take Qin Zheng's goodwill to heart. When he was useless, let alone asking them to pay for so much gold, even if it was a few hundred silver taels, he would not necessarily be willing to pay. Yi Qinghan returned to the backyard and continued to brew the purple light wine. He was busy until midnight, and only then did he brew 10 jars of purple light wine, all of which he handed over to Qin Zheng. Qin Zheng did not leave the spirit treasure pavilion that night. He took out the unopened jar of purple light wine and carefully tasted it. Sun Fizi shamelessly sat down and asked for a bowl. Sun Fizi, this time you have done a great service, I will help you ask for a reward. Perhaps this time you will be able to take over the position of Jiangning County's deacon. Qin Zheng excitedly said. Ah! I can take over Jiangning County. Old man Sun's whole body trembled. Only bitter sea stage experts had the qualifications to sit in that position. You don't understand the value of this purple light wine. We can auction it separately, and a bowl can be sold for at least 5,000 gold taels. If you can obtain the recipe and brew it yourself, you may even obtain a 3rd grade martial skill as a reward. You understand? Qin Zheng looked at Sun Fizi with deep meaning, the meaning was very clear. Sun Fizi was extremely embarrassed. Did they want him to steal the purple light wine? Or did they want to curry favor with Yi Qinghan and obtain the wine recipe? Lord Qin, would this? Sun Fizi was in a difficult position. He wanted to say something but stopped, afraid of angering Qin Zheng. Sun Fizi, you are now in the blood ignition realm, and there is still a lot of time for you to enjoy. If you obtain a 3rd grade martial skill, it is not impossible for you to break through the bitter sea stage and enter the paradise stage. At that time, you will be able to become a super expert that can leave the owl falling star. Don't be short-sighted. Qin Zheng said in a low voice. Alright, I will do my best. Sun Fizi smiled bitterly. He really did not want to make Yi Qinghan feel disgusted. He always felt that Yi Qinghan's ability was not as simple as it seemed. The night was as dark as ink, but the ground was as white as day. Black and white intersected, making Wanshan town look magnificent. Yi Qinghan raced against time in his cultivation. With every step he took, he would have more life-saving means. He tempered his body and cultivated his martial skills again. Looking back at his previous cultivation, he could see some flaws. His skill in using martial skills had reached the peak. The parrot was sleeping soundly, saliva dripping from its mouth. It was hugging a purple light fruit in its hand, looking extremely cute. Suddenly, the parrot opened its eyes and stood up, startling Yi Qinghan. What's the matter? Yi Qinghan frowned and asked. Master, there is a spirit aura rapidly approaching. The parrot hurriedly said. Spirit aura was a type of spirit energy. However, spirit energy was filled with a spirit aura that could tear one's soul apart. This spirit aura was very special and very rare. The parrot, who was very sensitive to spirit energy, had detected it before Yi Qinghan did. Where is it? Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice. 30 miles away. No, it is within 30 miles. The parrot hurriedly said, this spirit aura comes from a person's body. There is an extremely fast person approaching. It is a blood fiend assassin. Go to Meng Shi's room and protect her. However, do not alarm her. Yi Qinghan said worriedly. The parrot tiptoed to Yi Mengxi's room, only to find that little Mengxi was still cultivating. It seemed that her Dao heart was very firm. "Divine bird, why did you come to my room in the middle of the night?" Yi Mengxi was the first to wake up and asked curiously. "It's nothing. Master is always cold like a block of wood. It is more comfortable to stay by your side." The parrot did not speak the truth. It sat beside Yi Mengxi and felt the distance of the spirit aura. In the front yard, Qin Zheng was meditating and resting. He did not discover the extremely secretive Blood Fiend Assassin. It seemed that the title of Blood Fiend Never Misses was not undeserved. The Blood Fiend Assassin quickly entered Wanshan Town. At this moment, Wanshan Town was deathly silent. There was not a single person outside. Other than the wind blowing and snow flying, there was no other movement. The assassin's concealment technique had reached the pinnacle. He stepped on the snow without leaving a trace. He was like a ghost in the dark night. Even someone as strong as Qin Zheng, who was at the third star of the Bitter Sea stage, did not discover his presence. A sinister dagger appeared in the assassin's hand. The cold light was threatening. He directly flipped from the side of the Lingbao pavilion into the backyard. Yi Qinghan stood behind the door with the heavy berserk saber in his hand. His breathing was steady and did not make any sound. His consciousness was locked onto the assassin. The assassin did not know that Yi Qinghan had already discovered him. He was still slowly approaching the backyard. With a sweep of his consciousness, he felt that Yi Qinghan's room was very masculine. With a light step, he arrived at Yi Qinghan's door. The two of them were only separated by a door, but the assassin was completely unaware. The corners of Yi Qinghan's mouth rose slightly. He clenched the heavy berserk saber with both hands. Without causing any fluctuations in the air, he viciously chopped at the wooden door. Boom, with a loud sound, the wooden door turned into fine powder. The heavy berserk saber was invincible as it rushed towards the assassin. The assassin was shocked. His reaction was not slow. He protected his chest with the dagger and fiercely collided with the heavy berserk saber. His body seemed to have suffered a huge force. He could not control his body and was directly sent flying. Puff, humph. The assassin groaned and coughed out a large mouthful of essence blood. His face was as white as snow. He looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. "You can actually discover me." The assassin looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. A very obvious gap appeared on the dagger in his hand. The web between his thumb and forefinger was broken and blood flowed out. This loud sound not only alarmed Qin Zheng and old man Sun in the front yard, it also woke up the sleeping Wang Shi. Yi Mengxi also suddenly opened her eyes and looked out the window. "Don't go out. Master will take care of it." The parrot stretched out its legs and spread its wings. It said with a face full of disdain. Wang Shi was also blocked by the parrot at the door. She looked in panic at the man in black who was full of killing intent. "Don't worry. Master won't take this kind of rookie to heart." The parrot blocked the door and said. "Mother, you don't have any cultivation now. Go back to your room first. Nothing will happen." Yi Mengxi was like a big child. She pushed Wang Shi back to her room and looked calmly at the two people who were accumulating power in the courtyard. She wanted to see the others' fighting skills. "Little master, take a good look at the fighting skills. Master's fighting skills are very strong. But this rookie looks very strong too. He actually knows that master is looking for an opportunity. Whoever moves first will be at a disadvantage." The parrot's eyes were sharp as it explained to little Mengxi. The two people were indeed accumulating power. No one dared to move recklessly. Their eyes were like wolves. It was fine if they did not move, but if they moved, the mountains would collapse. Qin Zheng appeared in the backyard. His face changed slightly. He had the highest cultivation level, but he did not discover the assassin. Yi Qinghan actually discovered the assassin. His evaluation of Yi Qinghan increased by 3 points. Yi Qinghan's aura was getting stronger and stronger. The heavy berserk saber in his hand whistled in the wind. The assassin did not dare to move. It's over. I've exposed myself today. I didn't expect Yi Qinghan to not be in the body refinement realm. He has true essence and is clearly in the blood ignition realm. My evaluation of the target's strength was wrong. My life is over. The assassin's face was gloomy. He would be the first person in the Blood Fiend organization to fail in all these years. Humph, even if I can't leave this place alive, I must at least complete the objective. Kill Yi Qinghan. The assassin's eyes turned cold. He held his dagger and attacked Yi Qinghan. Chapter 26. The assassin attacked, leaving behind countless afterimages. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and killing intent. Qin Zheng didn't immediately make a move. Instead, he sat on top of the mountain and watched the tigers fight. He wanted to see if Yi Qinghan's combat strength was as terrifying as Sun Fizi had said. However, he was also accumulating power. Once Yi Qinghan was defeated, he would immediately make a move. After all, he hadn't obtained the technique to create the purple light wine yet. Yi Qinghan looked at the assassin rushing towards him. Instead of being angry, he laughed. Holding his heavy frenzied blade, his movements were as fast as lightning. Overlapping wave slash. With a roar, Yi Qinghan's blade had already arrived in front of the assassin. It fiercely clashed with the dagger, causing the assassin to be heavily injured and retreat a few steps. Before he could recover, Yi Qinghan had already attacked with his second slash. Boom boom boom, one slash after another, each slash stronger than the last. This was the power of the overlapping wave slash. The second slash was 10 times stronger than the second slash, and the third slash was 10 times stronger than the second slash. When the attack reached the 10th slash, it was enough to kill a Paradise Realm warrior. Grade 4 martial skill. Overlapping wave slash. However, Yi Qinghan's current True Yuan and cultivation level were not enough to support his fourth slash. The True Yuan in his Qi flowed out along the heavy frenzied blade. The heavy frenzied blade was like a bottomless pit, desperately absorbing True Yuan. The boundless True Yuan in his Qi was instantly consumed. After the third slash, the assassin's dagger broke. The palm of his hand shattered, and his blood dyed the backyard red. His 7 orifices were ruptured, and blood flowed freely. His eyes were filled with fear and despair. Qin Zheng sucked in a breath of cold air. The members of the Blood Fiends were all top-notch within the same cultivation level. Although this Blood Fiend was only at the initial stage of the Blood Ignition realm, he was strong enough to assassinate a mid-stage Blood Ignition realm warrior. If he was lucky, he might even be able to kill a peak-stage Blood Ignition realm warrior. However, in front of Yi Qinghan, he was as weak as a child. 12 styles of leaving hands. Yi Qinghan felt that he did not have enough strength to attack with the fourth slash. He directly changed his moves. The changes between the two secret techniques were extremely natural, without any dissonance, as if they were one secret technique. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, after slashing out more than 10 times, the Blood Fiend assassin fell to the ground. More than 10 horrifying wounds appeared on his chest. Every slash cut deep into his bone marrow. The Blood Fiend assassin couldn't dodge a single slash. Swish, sheathing his saber, Yi Qinghan was incomparably calm. It was as if he had just killed a wild beast. He did not feel the slightest bit of excitement. He also did not understand how great of a shock Qin Zheng and Sun Fizi had felt when he killed someone of a higher realm. "Mr. Sun, please help me deal with the corpse." After Yi Qinghan finished speaking, he saw that the backyard had been destroyed. His room had also been destroyed by the shockwaves, making it impossible for anyone to live in it. He then said to Qin Zheng, "We will leave tonight and go to Jiangning County. Pretend that you don't know what happened tonight. I don't want to be famous for the time being." "Alright, Mr. Yi is indeed a genius. It's just that I wonder if this stacking waves/secret technique is for sale. I'm willing to buy it at a high price." Qin Zheng's eyes were filled with shock. Although he didn't know the level of this stacking wave/, he could tell how powerful it was. There were only a few level 4 martial techniques in the entire Owl Falling Star. As long as an unfamiliar level 4 martial technique appeared, it could possibly alarm all the great empires on the planet. Yi Qinghan also knew that it was best not to leak this martial technique. He shook his head and refused. "My master's ultimate technique is not to be leaked." "Master? I wonder which grotto heaven expert Mr. Yi is under. Perhaps he has some relationship with my spirit treasures pavilion." Qin Zheng was shocked. He believed that someone like Yi Qinghan must have a terrifying existence behind him. At the very least, that person must be at the grotto heaven realm. He was even more vigilant towards Yi Qinghan and did not want to offend him. Yi Qinghan did not explain further. It was not a bad choice to let Qin Zheng misunderstand. At least he would not dare to act recklessly, and the Spirit Treasures Pavilion would not use their power to oppress him. "Mother, Meng Shi, follow me to Jiangning County. Give up on the things here and buy new ones when we reach Jiangning County." Yi Qinghan said indifferently. "Go to Jiangning County? Mother is not going. You and Meng Shi are not allowed to go either." Wang Shi frowned. Jiangning County was Situ Yunxiao's territory. Wouldn't they be courting death if they went there? "Wang Xian, do you still remember me, Qin Zheng?" Qin Zheng looked at the aged Wang Shi and sighed. The number one beauty of Jiangning County had actually become like this. Situ Yunxiao was really a waste of a treasure. "Mr. Qin, you don't know my family's situation. If we go to Jiangning County now, won't we anger Prince Situ? Please don't harm us." Wang Shi gathered her courage and looked directly at Qin Zheng as she said in a low voice. "With me, Qin Zheng, Situ Yunxiao would not dare to kill his way into the Spirit Treasures Pavilion." Qin Zheng's face was full of disdain. He looked at Wang Xian's appearance and sneered in his heart. He then said temptingly, "Wang Xian, don't you want to go back to Broken Sword Peak to see your father?" "Sigh, why should I go back and cause trouble for him? As long as he can live peacefully in his old age, I can pray every day." Wang Shi shook her head in despair. Although she really wanted to go back and take a look, she did not want to implicate the Broken Sword Peak. "Mother, I have made up my mind. I promise you that no one will hurt a single hair on Meng Shi's head. Come with me now." Yi Qinghan's eyes shone with a will that could collapse the heavens. He did not allow anyone to reject him. The aura that was emitted from his body made Qin Zheng take a step back. Wang Shi murmured. Looking at the light in Yi Qinghan's eyes, she could only sigh and agree. Sun Fizi took the assassin's corpse and threw it at the Blood-Bone Peak. He returned to the Spirit Treasures Pavilion and cleaned it up. He then stood at the side and waited for Qin Zheng's instructions. "Let's go to Jiangning County." Qin Zheng took the lead and stepped into the distance, heading straight for Jiangning County. Yi Qinghan summoned the huge tiger and placed Wang Shi and Yi Mengshi on its back. The huge tiger was obedient and did not resist. It walked steadily as it was afraid of scaring the old man and Yi Mengshi. The parrot was incomparably excited. It stood on the huge tiger's head and shouted, "This divine bird has finally left this broken place. I'm going to play in the city." This was the first time little Meng Shi had seen such a huge rank 1 tiger. She stroked its fur and rolled around on its back. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the tiger's back and closed his eyes to meditate. He had swallowed a large amount of stone milk essence and his strength had increased by quite a bit. Qin Zheng took the lead. He stepped on the snow without leaving a trace and was silent in the wind. Sun Fizi followed closely behind, vigilant of their surroundings. They were all experts and were extremely fast. The huge tiger's speed was even faster than Sun Fizi's. Yi Qinghan was afraid that Wang Shi would not be able to withstand the ravaging cold wind due to her old age, so he took the initiative to sit in front. He used his body and the jinqi that he emitted to block the cold wind. The snow could not block their path. They passed by at least 10 villages in one night. If it were not for Qin Jing leading them, it would have been very difficult to reach Jiangning County in this kind of environment. This was also the reason why the 3 blood ignition realm experts sent by Situ Yunxiao were lost. The world was vast and boundless, connecting the ends of the world. In some places, the accumulated snow had submerged entire villages. The villagers relied on dried meat and rations to survive the cold. After traveling for half a night, a huge ancient city appeared in front of them. It gave off an ancient aura, and the 3 words Jiangning County emitted a powerful aura that could capture one's soul. Ancient buildings that towered into the clouds were protected by formations. Even from 100 miles away, one could feel the fluctuations of the laws. It was awe-inspiring. Jiangning County was one of the larger cities in the Azure Sun Kingdom. However, in Yi Qinghan's opinion, such a city could at most be considered a small and remote village. There was not even a single Grotto Heaven Realm expert here. A single expert would be able to destroy Jiangning County. However, Yi Mengxi's reaction was a little exaggerated. Her small mouth was slightly open, making her look like a country bumpkin entering the city. Wang Shi's eyes were also filled with indescribable emotions and tears. Yi Qinghan could feel Wang Shi's sadness. The corner of his mouth twitched and a cold smile shot out a murderous intent. He was an extremely protective person. Those that he approved of could not be bullied. Otherwise, only death awaited. Mother, tomorrow I will ask Mr. Qin to escort you and Mengxi to Broken Sword Peak to take a look. From today onwards, you can do whatever you want. You don't need to consider others. Situ Yunxiao won't be able to control you. Yi Qinghan burst out with an imposing aura. He stood on top of the giant tiger and looked down at Jiangning County with disdain. Really? Can I go see your grandfather? Wang Shi's eyes lit up and were filled with anticipation. Of course, no one will dare to stop you. Yi Qinghan said confidently. The sky was dusky. Dawn had just passed. A wisp of afterglow appeared on the horizon and dyed the clouds red. It was as mournful as blood, hinting that a storm was coming. Qin Jing took out his identity card and the gates of Jiangning County immediately opened. Even the giant tiger didn't dare to check and directly let them in. However, Yi Qinghan, Wang Shi, and Yi Mengxi on top of the giant tiger shocked the city guards of Jiangning County. They all lowered their heads in disgust. An early-stage blood ignition expert who looked like the leader of the guards directly left the city walls and headed straight for the county king's manor. As soon as they entered Jiangning County, an aura of vicissitudes greeted them. All kinds of luxurious ancient buildings exuded a dignified aura. Jiangning County was covered in white snow in the wee hours of the morning. It was like a wonderland, magnificent and magnificent. Qin Jing arrogantly thought that Yi Qinghan would be stunned by the aura of this place. He couldn't help but turn his head and ask, "How is Jiangning County?" Yi Qinghan faintly smiled. His smile was demonic and arrogant. This kind of feeling was like a beggar showing off his wealth to a millionaire with a steamed bun. The millionaire wouldn't throw out a large amount of money to humiliate the beggar. He would only proudly smile. "It's okay." Yi Qinghan indifferently replied. Yi Qinghan remained unperturbed. He was like a bottomless abyss, making people unable to understand him. Qin Jing's heart became more and more cautious. Ha ha ha. Mr. Yi, to be accepted as a disciple by a Grotto Heaven expert, you are indeed extraordinary. This old man is ashamed. Qin Jing awkwardly smiled and pointed to the center of the city. Follow me to the Spirit Treasures Pavilion. The Spirit Treasures Pavilion in Jiangning County is even safer than the County King's Manor. Mr. Yi, you can rest assured that no one will harm your mother and sister. That's good. However, I would like to ask Mr. Qin to take us to the Broken Sword Peak after daybreak. I hope that they will be able to see the Broken Sword Peak's Peak Lord and not be rejected at the door. Yi Qinghan looked straight at Qin Zheng. The determination in his eyes was not a discussion, but a command. Qin Zheng was stunned. He wanted him to be a bodyguard. But could he refuse? Obviously not. No problem. When we reach Jiangning County, I will be the host. Let me make the arrangements. Qin Zheng pretended to be dignified and said. Today, if Yi Qinghan brought Wang Shi and Yi Mengshi to the Sky Sword sect alone, he would definitely be rejected. He was well aware of this. Due to the pressure from the County King's Manor, the Sky Sword sect had been suppressing the Broken Sword Peak. They also didn't allow Wang Shi to return to visit her family and completely cut off all ties with Wang Xian. As a result, the Broken Sword Peak became a peak that was about to close down. There were only 2 or 3 loyal disciples left the Broken Sword Peak. The rest had all left the Broken Sword Peak and joined other peaks. Chapter 27. The sky had just brightened, and the gentle sunlight shone on the earth, causing the white snow to emit a silver glow. Yi Qinghan settled the giant tiger down and brought Yi Mengshi and Wang Shi to the Sky Sword sect to test the attitude of the Sky Sword sect and his so-called grandfather. Qin Zheng followed behind with a group of people secretly protecting them. Now that Yi Qinghan was their big client, they couldn't let their guard down. The Sky Sword sect was located on a spiritual mountain more than 10 miles away from the city. It occupied 8 mountains with dense spiritual energy and formed a huge second-grade sect. It was equivalent to a duke's mansion, but the duke's mansion had the backing of the Azure Sun Kingdom, while the Sky Sword sect didn't. The Sky Sword sect was protected by a faintly discernible spiritual array that emitted spiritual energy fluctuations. This array consumed 1 mid-grade spirit crystal a day, so the Sky Sword sect didn't activate it during safe periods. After all, spirit crystals were scarce. Spirit crystals were like transparent stones filled with spiritual energy. The higher the grade, the more transparent the spirit crystal was and the more abundant the spiritual energy it contained. A low-grade spirit crystal was worth 300 gold taels. Mid-grade spirit crystals were worth 5,000 gold taels. As for high-grade spirit crystals, there was no market for them. Ordinary cultivators couldn't exchange spirit crystals for gold. Spirit crystals were the only currency used by cultivators. If a first-grade sect discovered a spirit crystal vein, it could develop into a second-grade sect within 3 years, and a third-grade sect within 10 years. However, spirit crystal veins weren't that easy to discover. There were only 2 small spirit crystal veins in the entire kingdom, and both were controlled by the royal family of Prince Green Sunday. Yi Qinghan brought the 2 closer to the Sky Sword sect. Wang Shi was even more frightened. Her legs were trembling, and she couldn't stand steadily. The former number 1 beauty of Jiangning County was now in such dire straits. It was a pity. Even if she regained her looks with the face restoration pill, her cultivation from back then would never return. Mother, don't be afraid. It's just the Sky Sword sect. Even if I have to fight today, I'll fight my way into the Broken Sword Peak. If grandfather doesn't want to see you, you can also resolve one of your worries. Yi Qinghan held Wang Shi's aged hand and said in a deep voice. Don't make things too difficult for your grandfather. If it wasn't for him, your father and I would have died long ago. We wouldn't have been able to escape. As for what the other peaks of the Sky Sword sect say, we'll just have to endure it. Don't get into a conflict with them. Yi Qinghan nodded. He didn't want to make things too difficult for the Wang clan. After all, the Wang clan still had deep-rooted feelings for the Heavenly Sword sect. On the Sky Sword Sect's martial practice field, several hundred disciples at the 7th or 8th layer of the body refinement realm were practicing their swordsmanship. Their movements were neat and uniform. The foundation of a second-grade sect was clearly displayed. Any random young disciple would be able to sweep through a small place like Myriad Mountain Town. The Heavenly Sword Sect's sword-bearing elder, Chen Changsheng, nodded in satisfaction as he watched his disciple bitterly cultivating. He paced back and forth, correcting his disciples' mistakes. That's right. Everyone, cultivate well. The Heavenly Sword Sect's 3-year competition is about to begin. As long as you can become an elite disciple, you can enter the Heavenly Sword Sect's paradise to cultivate for 3 months. Everyone, cherish this opportunity. Chen Changxing said in a low voice. What? Can all the elite disciples cultivate in the Blessed Enclave for 3 months this year? 3 months, that's equivalent to cultivating in the outside world for 3 years. I've heard that any disciple who can walk out of the Blessed Enclave alive will definitely be able to reach the Blood Ignition realm within a year. The Heavenly Sword Sect was in an uproar. The spirit chi in the Blessed Enclave was more than 10 times that of the outside world. Although it was very dangerous, there were opportunities everywhere. Finding ancient treasures or spirit herbs was equivalent to 10 years of bitter cultivation. Every disciple of a large sect wanted to enter their own blessed enclave to train. That's right. This year, the Heavenly Sword Sect is preparing to accept 12 elite disciples. Any disciple who can enter the elite ranking will be placed in an important position by the Heavenly Sword Sect. There's still a month before the elite ranking examination begins. Once the examination ends, the Blessed Enclave will open. Seize this opportunity and you'll all be at the top. Chen Changxing encouraged. Yes, Lord Elder. We definitely won't disappoint Lord Elder. Everyone hugged their swords and roared. They were abnormally excited. He, of the 10 elites, senior brother Lin Hong will definitely be one of them. In addition to the 8 senior brothers from the main peaks and the senior sister from Jade Maiden Peak, we're actually all fighting for 3 spots. However, one of the spots is mine. A thin and weak-looking boy proudly said. Yuan Hong, you think too highly of yourself. You're only at the early stage of the 8th layer of body refinement and your void-piercing sword art is only at the 6th layer. There are plenty of people stronger than you. Do you have the confidence to enter the top 12? That's right. Maybe I, Quang Hu, can enter the elite ranking. There were only 12 spots in the elite ranking and every spot was extremely precious. Everyone wanted to fight for it. Yuan Hong stood out and everyone ridiculed him, not giving him any face. The youth called Yuan Hong's expression changed and he angrily glared at the crowd. Who said there were only 3 spots? There are 4 spots. Is there anyone from Broken Sword Peak who can obtain the elite ranking? Haha, maybe they'll be disbanded this year. A handsome and feminine youth walked out from the crowd with a face full of ridicule. Xian Fei's second senior is right. Broken Sword Peak is about to be disbanded and their senior is only at the 7th layer of body refinement. How can he obtain the elite ranking? As long as no elite ranking appears this year, Broken Sword Peak will only exist in name. It's better to disband and rebuild. Once Xian Fei walked out, a dozen or so young disciples surrounded him. Their faces were full of flattery and they were not arrogant at all. Xian Fei, the second senior of the main peak, Heaven's Sword Peak. His cultivation level was at the 9th layer of body refinement. He was only second to the senior of the other main peaks. Of course, Broken Sword Peak was excluded. Because in these years, Broken Sword Peak had already existed in name. If it weren't for a few loyal disciples guarding there, Broken Sword Peak would have been disbanded a long time ago. Xian Fei was the one who targeted Broken Sword Peak the most. In his opinion, he was completely qualified to be the senior of a main peak. But a 7th layer of body refinement trash from Broken Sword Peak occupied one of the spots. He was unwilling to accept this, and every 2 to 3 days, he would pick on the disciples of Broken Sword Peak. This year there will be 13 elites. One of them will be elected as the senior of the 8 peaks. Everyone, do your best. Chen Chongsheng had a smile on his face. Seeing everyone's high morale, he felt a little proud. But before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by someone. Report. 3 people came to the foot of the mountain. A 16 or 17-year-old youth, a 5 or 6-year-old girl, and a 50 or 60-year-old woman. They said they came to visit the mountain. Elder, should we let them in? A young disciple respectfully ran to the practice field. When he saw Chen Chongsheng, he immediately bowed and asked. Being interrupted, Chen Chongsheng's expression was a little bad. He asked impatiently, did they say where they came from? My dignified second-grade sect is not a place that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can visit. They only said their surname is Yi. They said they are related to Broken Sword Peak. The disciple guarding the gate quickly said. Surname Yi. Broken Sword Peak. A 50 or 60-year-old woman, a 16 or 17-year-old youth, and a 5 or 6-year-old girl. Chen Chongsheng frowned. A person flashed through his mind. He couldn't help but say angrily, could it be that Trash's bastard and Wang Xian, the traitor? Once Chen Chongsheng thought of Yi Lao Qi and Wang Xian, his mood instantly sank. He flicked his sleeves and walked towards the foot of Broken Sword Peak. When the disciples saw this, they knew there would be a good show to watch. They all followed closely behind, ready to watch a good show. When the group arrived at the foot of the mountain, Chen Chongsheng looked at Wang Shi and Yi Qinghan. His eyes revealed a trace of killing intent and ferocity. It is indeed you and his bastard. If you dare to return to Heaven's Sword Sect, I will clean up the sect today. Chen Chongsheng coldly reprimanded. Elder Chen, my child and I did not come with ill intentions. We just wanted to see my father. If we can't go to Heaven's Sword Sect, please inform him. Wang Shi quickly said. Hee, your skin is really thick. You still dare to come and see Peak Master Wang Xian. It's good that you didn't anger him to death. Chen Chongsheng sneered. He waved his hand and said to the disciples behind him, men, capture these 3 people and escort them to the Duke's mansion. Let the Duke deal with them. Pa, a white light flashed and a claw mark appeared on Chen Chongsheng's dignified face. It was dripping with blood and a piece of flesh was almost torn off. The parrot on Yi Qinghan's shoulder raised its little claw and lightly blew on it. It shook its head and said, TSK, such thick skin. This divine bird actually didn't tear it apart. Chen Chongsheng was stunned. He reached out and touched his burning face. His hand was covered in blood. He couldn't help but fly into a rage. His killing intent soared and he stared at Yi Qinghan and the parrot on his shoulder. You dared to let your lowly bird sneak attack me. Like master, like pet. Both of you are so lowly. Today, this old man will skin you and this rotten bird alive. Another resounding slap, shocking the heavens and earth and making ghosts and gods weep. Chen Chongsheng spun around a few times in place, his head was dizzy and he almost fainted from this slap. This is only a warning. If you dare to speak rudely again, I will take your life. Yi Qinghan said coldly to Chen Chongsheng. It was as if he hadn't moved at all. His figure moved and he returned to his original position. Chen Chongsheng was completely stunned. He had been slapped in the face again and again, and one of them was actually a palm-sized bird. The anger in his heart was so dense that it almost materialized. The disciples of Heaven's Sword Sect were also stunned. Although the sword-bearing elder was only an outer sect elder, his cultivation wasn't bad. He was at least at the middle stage of the blood ignition realm. However, he had been slapped twice in a row. They were somewhat unable to accept it. Shua, in order to curry favor with Chen Chongsheng, 20 or so young disciples instantly surrounded Yi Qinghan and the other 2. Xian Fei was at the front, pointing his sword at Yi Qinghan. You dare to sneak attack an elder of Heaven's sword sect? You're courting death. Kneel down and kowtow to me and admit your wrongs. Today, this young master will chop off your arms and legs and give you a quick death. Xian Fei's arrogance soared to the heavens. He didn't put Yi Qinghan in his eyes at all. Moreover, they were at the foot of Heaven's sword sect's mountain and there were so many fellow disciples by his side. So what if Yi Qinghan was strong? Ha ha ha, for more than 10 years, no one has dared to hit this old man. You are the first. The cold flames in Chen Chongsheng's eyes almost rushed out of his eyes. He stared at Yi Qinghan, his killing intent was self-evident. He laughed coldly and cruelly. Are you blind? I am the first one to hit you. You're really despicable. Have you forgotten so quickly? The parrot scolded insolently. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up, revealing a trace of ridicule. He was also amused by the parrot. Little Meng Shi was even more so, giggling. Chen Chongsheng's face immediately turned the color of a pig's liver, alternating between green and purple. His whole body trembled in anger, his finger trembled as he pointed at the parrot on Yi Qinghan's shoulder, wishing he could skin it. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.